Let's start episode 197. We're almost there. We're almost done. Almost to 200. I don't know what that means, but we're almost done. But anyway, we're almost to 200. My name is Tim here at the Current Gen Podcast, here with Jeff and Dan. Good evening, my friends.
Aloha.
Oh,
Hola.
are we in Hawaii?
Yeah.
Dude, I would love to.
Started
Hawaii.
learning that. Started learning that on Do It and Go. No, I'm just kidding. I didn't.
Okay.
It's not.
All right.
I don't know that it's even on there. Honestly, I didn't even look.
I don't know if you guys knew, but there was a lot of video game stuff happening this past week, so we have a ton to cover. If you watch us on YouTube and you happen to tune into our live show, I apologize that you'd heard nothing that I said, but here's the good news. Jeff and Dan also said a lot, and you could hear them, and you could see the stream, and hopefully you were able to get something out of it if you stuck around and watched any of it. So thank you. But
and
we're
if you couldn't
out.
hear the audio when I said this the first time, I'm gonna drink some dude's evening stout on this episode too.
That means by the time you get to quick hits, Jeff's gonna be silly.
I'm gonna be gone.
silly
Make
Jeff.
sure you don't go
14%
Derek
alcohol
levels
rate.
of silly. Make sure you don't go Derek levels of silly. You know.
Yeah, let's not go too far. Maybe just
So
Kyle
good,
levels
though.
of silly,
So
not Derek
chocolatey.
levels of silly. Yeah. All right. Well, we got to talk about the Game Awards that happened this week. We've got a major game trailer that came out this week, which is feels like old news after all the Game Awards stuff. But that also happened this week, and one major game and at least one major DLC that hit surprisingly this week that we need to talk about. So let's get into all of it. I think we could kick things off with the Game Awards just because that's the biggest thing. That's what's on everyone's mind. And you heard none of my thoughts because I wasn't being recorded properly.
Right.
So I've got thoughts, but I went ahead and just jotted down what I thought were most of the notable things. We don't have to talk about all these, but these are most of the more notable moments. And most importantly, who had the most correct predictions? Let's start with that. Jeff, how did we do with our predictions for this year's Game Awards? There was 4 of us. It was Dan, Jeff, Kyle, myself. How did we do?
We predicted 25 total categories, which is not all of them. We did exclude all of the esports categories.
Well, because who cares,
because we really are not invested in that at all.
We don't know anything about
podcast. It. Yeah, exactly.
Well, Dan might a little bit.
We might know
Twitch,
esports game, but that's about it. At best, you know. So we eliminated that, and we eliminated something else too. Player's voice. That's the other one, because you never know. You never know which way the internet's going to go. It's just they're an unknown variable.
What is player's voice?
That's the player's choice.
Player's choice. I mean.
The
Isn't
voters,
that the one that we did like
choice.
every couple of days? They did
okay.
like a new selection, and you pick like 3, and then pick like 1.
And Baldur's
Gotcha.
Gate 3 won that
Baldur's
one
Gate 3
correctly.
won. I was surprised.
But Genshin
man.
Impact
I really
got in
was.
there, yeah. So
God
like
dang
that's
you,
an
Genshin.
example of like in a category. It's like if Genshin Impact can get in there, then we're not going to predict that award.
Did they explain why Genshin was like allowed to be?
I think they feel no obligation to be serious about that award. Like, I can't say I blame them because I mean I guess ultimately what do these awards matter? But you know,
apparently not much to them, and people are mad about it. So
I know. Some
like,
people
did
are
it come out on a new console this year, and that's why they're like, all right, that's a 2023 game.
I don't think it did. I don't think it did. I would have remembered that.
I don't think it did.
Yeah, what a weird thing to include.
But anyway, so total of 25 categories.
All right.
So I'm gonna have to do some quick math on the fly here.
Good
Dan,
math.
we're gonna go from who got the least to. I'm sorry to say your name first, Dan. Who got the least right to who got the most right.
Okay.
Dan got 12 right, but he did. I think he won the most out of all of us, at least like spiritually, psychologically, and he was honest to himself, you know, because he voted with his heart.
It's a different type of victory.
Yes, exactly. He voted
the best
with Final Fantasy 14 every single time. He voted with, Ben Starr, which I went with as well, and I was wrong on that.
That's bullshit.
And I think Tim did as well. Yeah, I know.
He won the show meme-wise. He's a meme now. Like
he's
a bigger meme
too, which is great.
Yeah, than Neil is.
I'm glad he's in on the memeing, which is fun.
Yes.
In third place with a total of 13 points, it was Tim. Just one more right than Dan, but that was enough.
So many more to
be better than the guy who voted with his heart. And in second place, this is not rigged. Damn it! Don't say it.
Rigged.
It's Kyle.
Rigged.
It's Kyle. He's second place.
Rigged.
He had 16 correct, and that was just one shy of what I had, which was 17. I had 17 right. And Kyle got, like, at one point, I don't know that. Yeah, actually, yeah. At several points, sometimes, some of us would get one right, and the rest of us would get all of them wrong. In particular, in best indie, Dan got right. All of us got it wrong. Kyle got best game direction. All of us got it wrong.
I don't think I got any right that everyone missed.
Oh, I think you're right. My bad. I misspoke.
I'm such a sheep. I'm such a sheep.
Just a sheep.
There, and actually, it turns out the only one that I got right that I used the betting odds for is Game of the Year. The rest of them that I used the betting odds for, I got wrong.
Well, you don't need betting odds for that. That was such an obvious winner for this year.
Yeah, true.
Like, you didn't need betting odds for that.
Oh, best audio design is the one I got that everybody else missed. Hi-Fi Rush is the one I went with.
We all picked something different for that one.
We did. That was a different one. And best community support, I went with Baldur's Gate 3, and everybody else picked something different. Yeah, that's just some interesting stuff. And then the betting odds told me F1 23, probably because that was hot on the minds of Vegas bettors. I don't know, because F1 just had a race there. But obviously Forza was going to win that, and I should have trusted that. Whatever. But I still won anyway, so who cares?
Yeah, I look at some of these and I'm like, well, I definitely should not have guessed that one, but okay, like I see what I was doing. It's interesting. I think we all did better at the genre guesses than we did at the overall wins. Like, so when it came down, like if you look at our chart, more red is at the top half, which are the bigger awards, like best audio, best narrative, all that kind of stuff. We did worse in that section than we did with best role playing or best family. Like, I think it's also because we've all watched the Game Awards for so many years in a row now. We have a feeling for what they're going to try to do. We talked it through last week too. Like, I think we had a vibe for what they were going to do. And we got most of those right. Only a couple of us missed here or there, on certain pieces.
Yeah, you only missed I think Dan was just throwing at a couple of those. He was just kind of throwing crap at the wall.
I only missed
I don't blame him
you
for
only missed one.
Dude, like Pizza Tower, I was like, listen,
yeah,
that's
you're
a
just like,
sweet
whatever,
ass name.
Pizza Tower, who cares?
Pizza Tower,
but I missed the racing one that I mentioned because I picked F1. Kyle went with Party
Strategy.
Animals for multiplayer, and you missed Sim Strategy with Fire Emblem Engage. So like, it's really like, I think at the midpoint or whatever of 16. Row 16 up, which is that's how we have it labeled. Game of the Year is at the top, and then it goes down. Everything else is like red. Like, there's so much red at the top. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. I think like some of the examples were like for best score in music. I like looking back on it. I'm like, of course, Hi-Fi Rush would have won audio design because of how it's used, not overall score. Overall score is going to go to something with a completely original epic score and Final Fantasy.
That's how I felt about it. That's why I was even surprised Hi-Fi Rush got nominated, which I still love that for them, and because I love that game. But it was still ultimately surprising considering all of the original music, like Hogwarts Legacy, that didn't make the cut. Mario Wonder didn't make the cut.
Wait, Jeff, why didn't Hogwarts Legacy get nominated?
I think I've been told by Potterheads that it's a mid game.
Potterheads.
Oh, got it.
Yeah, it was always a mid game. Nobody actually liked it, and nobody talked about it for months.
Okay, good. Thanks for clearing that up for me. I wasn't sure why. Okay,
that was definitely helpful. That, and no other reason.
Well, that was fun. We'll have to do some more predicting, of course, as other things. I mean, Game Awards is the biggest one, but I do kind of like doing these predictions on various things. So we'll try to find other ways for us to predict. That way we can mock each other for getting it wrong. We'll find other ways to do that.
Can I just throw out though? I'm wearing in solidarity my Final Fantasy 16 shirt.
Yeah, the one that I wore.
Yeah. Because 16 was robbed of Game of the Year. All right. And I just want to say, actually, hold on. The screen's telling me to wrap it up. So, I
see what
that
you
was
did
literally 5 seconds of talking, and it went
to. But before we talk about a lot of the announcements and stuff, I am curious. And you kind of brought it up, Dan. Like, we said this really quickly at the end of the live reaction, but just for the sake of the podcast. Overall thoughts on the show and how I think it's fair to say the awards were at least relatively spread out across a wide variety of games. I mean, there's certainly some that got snubbed, like Spider-Man 2 got no love. I understand why. It was in a really weird spot this year just when it released, and so it's a tough break for them. Absolutely. I think there was another that. Oh, of course, Hogwarts got no nominations, of course, so no wins. So there's a few really good games from this year. In the case of Spider-Man 2, truly excellent game.
I still have Octopath Traveler 2 really high in my personal list, and it only could afford to get nominated for RPG, I think. So that really bummed me out too.
What's funny though is, you know, where that would have landed, where 16 was, because 16 is not an RPG.
That's right. Agreed. It's not.
At least not primarily. Like, if you're gonna throw it in a category, right?
Action,
like,
action, adventure.
Yeah.
Yep,
probably
agreed.
action. Yeah.
Action, yeah. So.
Yeah, I thought it was interesting. I do think that the folks who make these selections, I think they very much take into consideration what has come before from that studio, from that IP. I think that's been clear over time. Like Uncharted in 2016, I'm convinced Uncharted 4 was the best video game of that year. I'm not saying it's the best video game ever or that it would win in many other years necessarily. I just think it was the best game of that year and a pretty solid but not amazing 2016. And they gave it to Overwatch. And I just, part of me is like,
oh my God.
Yeah, that's
that
a
had
huge
been,
smear on the Game Awards, in my opinion.
If that hadn't been a divisive sequel of a long running, at that point, by that point, a long running IP that had been around for a while, a couple spin-offs and a couple mainline games, I just wonder if that one would have won. And the same thing, if this year's a little different. Baldur's Gate 3 is a game changer. I totally get that. But I do think sometimes games get not a full shake when it comes to the attention and love they deserve just because they're a sequel. Marvel's Spider-Man 2, I think a lot of people were fine with it getting snubbed. Major fans weren't, but like a lot of people were like, yeah, no, but it's, you know, Spider-Man 1 got a bunch of credit in 2018, so it's pretty good. I'm like, yeah, but this is a totally different game. And I feel the same way about Tears of the Kingdom. Didn't get snubbed. I'm glad it won Action Adventure, which we all predicted that was the love it was going to get, and that it deserved it.
Well, it's funny because literally the same argument is made about both of those games. Like the people that are like, why wasn't, you know, Spider-Man 2? And it's like, I mean, it's the same. It's literally like copy and paste, same game.
Yeah, but it's not at all, though.
They added some extra, like a couple extra, but it's like the same game. Like you're in the city that you, and it's like same with Zelda, right? It's like, well, it's the same, you know, Hyrule. It's the same thing. It's like, I mean, no, not literally. If you've played Tears of the Kingdom, you understand there's way more than just the ground floor, like what you're doing there, you know.
I asked my son to sum it up for me. He was too shy to come on the show to talk about this, but I asked him to sum up, like, because he's played so many hours of both Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. He was even telling me he likes some aspects of Breath of the Wild better. He liked the opening of Breath of the Wild better, like on the plateau where the old man meets with you and kind of guides you a little bit. He just kind of liked that better than the way they opened Tears of the Kingdom with the islands and King Rauru. And so he's had a lot of thoughtful responses, but he said overall, like, there's, in his opinion, totally different games. He said, yeah, some of the buttons are the same and like you'll recognize enemies, but it feels like a completely different game. Like the boss fights, the puzzles, the tools you have, the weapons, the way weapons and armor works, the fact that you've got these huge sky islands, these massive depths to explore, and all of Hyrule. Like, he had some great thoughts, I thought, on it. So like, same thing with Spider-Man 2. There's so many new elements added, and now you've got both Spider-Man in the same world at the same time. There's new dynamics there, not only with characters but with gameplay. They did incredible stuff to make, like, I don't know. I don't think it's a fair criticism of those games.
Arguably the most
way to handle it, though. But
arguably the most important Spider-Man villain, like, you know, on the forefront. I mean, you don't get Venom, you know, for a crazy amount of time, but like he is one of the most.
And he was handled wonderfully in that game. I loved
it. Yeah, and like, so, you know, I don't know.
You mean Venom proper, like full Venom?
Yeah.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think overall, I understand why fans of certain games, this is what I was getting at, are a little upset. Maybe in some cases very upset, like Spider-Man 2, for example. But for the most part, for a year like this, where we've had so many, anywhere from good all the way up to game-changing, like industry-changing games. We've had several of those. Really, really great selection of games. Overall, pretty good variety of winners across the board, I thought.
I mean, I think, to be fair, this year has been, like, if you're comparing to, like, however far back you want to go, it was bananas. This year is just crazy, utterly insane.
Yeah.
So it kind of hard to pick and choose.
The amount of 10-10 games that came out this year is kind of absurd compared to, definitely the last, like, 4 years, I guess. I don't know. Yeah. Maybe 2020 was the last time we had, like, 10-10 games, like, at the very top for, you know,
2018 was a really tough one too,
or whatever. You had 2018, 2017, You
had Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Spider-Man and God of War and Red Dead Redemption 2. Like, you had all these massive AAA Absolutely.
And I'm sure there was a Souls game out that year too. I don't know. There always is competing with the top tier, the upper echelon.
No.
When did Sekiro come out?
Sekiro was 2019, right? It won in 2019.
So never mind then, because Bloodborne would have been 2017 or no, 2015.
That was and then Dark Souls 3 was 2016. So yeah, we were.
So maybe took a break. Maybe they took a break. Okay.
But yeah, so this does happen. But all that to say, there are a lot of things you can criticize rightly about the Game Awards. I thought overall, as far as the actual winners went, I don't look at this list and think, boy, they really mucked it up. Like, I think they did a good job of recognizing a lot of different games. So that's just my take on it. Now, real quick before we get into some of the announcements, Dan, you referenced this. We don't really have to dig into this too much, but I'm curious what you guys thought about the way the time was spent during the 3-hour presentation for these awards, how the airtime was spent.
Can I ask you, I know we asked Dan, sorry, but can I ask you guys if you saw anything about did anybody do any math about how much time was actually spent on the awards themselves?
I swear I saw 18% thrown around.
Okay. I figured somebody already did the math.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I saw 18%.
saw it somewhere. Someone posted about it.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, go ahead, Dan.
No, I'm pretty sure that's the number. That's the number that's coming to my mind that I saw somebody say 18% was people up on stage, and then the rest was everything else. So it's like when you comparatively, 18% versus what, 82%, like that's 82% that you're doing all the other things. And like, I mean, when we were watching the show, I was having a good time. I love the trailers. Like I love that they throw that in there. It's entertaining. I love seeing new things and I mean, they showed freaking new footage of 7 Rebirth. I was screaming like a girl. But like, I also said, like, hey, listen, this is an award show. It's important to recognize and acknowledge these people that are pouring their goddamn, blood, sweat, and tears into these games. Like that, it's an award show. That's what it's called, the Game Awards, So we should be acknowledging and letting them, like, I mean, how much more time really are you tacking onto the show by letting them just kind of go a little bit to have their...
Or how much time are you taking away from the marketing side of this thing in order to give developers their fair shake? That's my thought. Is I think the trailers are cool. The reveals are cool. Some of them were too long. Like some of them didn't need to be 2, 3, 4 minutes.
Especially the ones that are like, we don't even have a release date. This is a cinematic only. Like, why are we here for 5 minutes with your game then?
And hey, I'm about to say something that is maybe really mean. Yeah, sacrilege for especially like the Kyles of the world. Okay, so I'm sorry, Kyle. We love you, buddy.
I didn't mean to.
I don't think Kojima and Jordan Peele needed that much time on the stage with the microphones talking about a game that they had nothing to show. Listen, is that collaboration exciting? Yes, it is.
Yes, very much so.
Do we all want to see what they make? Absolutely.
Yes.
Like, no doubt about it. It was just they took such a huge chunk of time. Even his Jordan Peele's intro, which was cool, like we all kind of liked it. But man, as I'm looking back on it, and I just see IGN's article here, 30 minutes and 42 seconds is their estimate of what was spent on awards and speeches total out of the 2 hours and 52-minute runtime of the show, not counting the pre-show.
Right.
So 30 minutes of almost 3 hours. That's about a sixth. That's a little more than a sixth of the entire show was actually spent on awards and speeches.
Yeah.
That's not a lot.
Yeah. Either an award show, not at all. Not even an award show really at that point.
Right.
If it's less than 50%, it's not a Game Awards show. It's not an award show.
So like the solution is you either just let the show go for as long as, because it's not like it's on cable, so you just let it go for as long as it has to, or you say,
and it's in California, time zone difference, so you can stay longer.
Or you set a certain amount of time, but then you take into account, you kind of like maybe factor in like, all right, maybe they do go, freaking 8 minutes long, like what's his face, but you factor that into the time, and then say, hey, like we're not going to have these trailers in here. That sucks. I'm sorry, but
I think there's some more they can do with the pre-show as well, some pre-recorded things. So for these smaller categories that they've deemed non-important, that Jeff Keighley can just rattle off over the course of like a 45-second
esports and content creator, which was another one we didn't guess on.
That was their pre-show.
Yeah, that was all pre-show, and I don't think anybody got a speech.
No one said anything. So I was wondering if you could do, for example, Sea of Stars winning Best Indie was awesome. That game
should have been on that stage.
Yeah. They should have been on the stage. At the very least, they should have been contacted ahead of time. You can record a little thank you speech. We're going to play it. We're actually going to announce yours during the pre-show, right before the show launches. and I'll give you a chance to have something pre-recorded we can air, but we don't have like. I think I would, if I'm in their shoes, I'm like, hey, that's not ideal. I'd like to get up on the stage and be celebrated, but it's better than just being listed and moving on to the next thing.
Yeah, because this is like the one thing that's mainstream enough to be considered the Game Awards for the industry.
Right.
So for them to get on stage, even for the ones that did get on stage, to get on stage, do a speech for maybe a minute and a half, and then start getting wrap-up music, it's like, is this the most we're going to get? Is just trailers then, I guess?
I feel like a minute and a half is even being generous. Like I
actually didn't mind the wrap-up stuff as much, mainly because it was the same people getting on the stage. I'm not the same, a couple times at least. Like I saw Sam Lake so many times with the dance and with the performance stuff they got to do. And then like I just felt like some people were getting so much airtime for a game that's already so huge with a huge marketing budget. Part of me is like, you couldn't have done one award that wasn't Alan Wake involved to get someone different.
Yeah, I really wish that Sea of Stars should have been up there, at least with a pre-tape, like you're saying, or Final Fantasy 16 with its music award.
Yep.
Especially because like beforehand, you could have coordinated something to allow them to speak, because that musician is like such a huge deal in the industry.
Yeah, Soken.
Yeah. It's just I don't know. It rubs me the wrong way. I don't hate it in the moment, especially. I don't think there was not a single moment of despise or distaste in me during the live stream. I was having such a good time.
Same here.
And it's all in the retrospect. It's all
exactly.
Well, so there's one example that and this was the first one I saw people tweeting about, where somebody had their phone and they were like showing the screen and then like the person on stage. So I think please wrap it up. One of the Larian guys, and I think clearly we missed it, was talking about like during development how like a person or maybe multiple people had passed away during development, and like he was like pouring his heart out and like being emotional doing the speech, and the fucking wrap it up and it's like, that's kind of you're being a little I think we were like, you're being disrespectful. Like this guy is talking about people passing away and like you're being like, wrap it up.
Like that game took years.
So like I think that was the thing that was like, oh, okay, like no, that seems in poor taste to me. That seems in poor taste.
I agree, especially when you consider how long the show went. If this show was like an hour and a half and they were just booking it through with barely any trailer, like they were trying to squeeze everything in, I think I'd be a little bit more like, no, you got to make people wrap it up. You can't let anyone talk about anything, even if it's emotional. But that's not what they did. It was a 2-hour and 52-minute show that was clearly super long with tons of stuff.
Yeah.
And there was so much marketing. So much marketing, and I like it. They were marketing
partnerships,
to me.
Especially.
They were marketing to me, so I get it. And they need to support the show. Listen, that's fine. But with all that space and all that marketing time, I'm with you, Dan. Like they did not need to cut off speeches as quickly as they did.
Yeah,
it feels like, I don't know if it's just Keeley alone or if he has like a whole crew that coordinates this or whatever, or even some of his partners that he allies with in order to produce the show coordinates this. But it's like he's putting together a lineup for Summer Games Fest at the Game Awards, and that's not what this show is. It's the Game Awards. Right. Like you could half these trailers and I would still be interested in tuning in.
Agreed.
Like you don't have to look at all the stuff in our show notes.
So many
about trailers.
It's so many.
If you halved this, it would still be a good show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, you could be smart. You could be smart about the way, like for example, with Kojima and Peele.
That could have still happened the same exact way it did, but it's just the formatting of the show was just already long enough, and you were already cutting people off that were getting awards, that it felt like this is not a good idea.
But you could have shaved that down. Like they could have come out together. That still would have been a cool moment. Kojima and Peele coming out together, like that would have been cool.
He could have just said Hideo Kojima and a special guest.
And then they come out together.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they, talk for not as much time about a game that they're not showing us, we're working together and like we really like respect each other and like we're artists. Looking forward to it,
I don't like necessarily ganging up on this particular segment because not just for Kyle's sake, but I'm just super hyped about whatever this game is going to be.
No, I assume
Kojima. It's
going
to be some type of more cinematic than any, quite lliterally live action in some cases, than any of Kojima or any video game's history.
I agree.
So like I'm super pumped about this game. But Simu Liu, what were you doing, bro? Like just move it along. Get to the award. Stop talking. Like I mean, there's other examples
out there.
And Matthew McConaughey kept talking about Interstellar in his description of the game. He should have just said the title of the game first. Like stop pitching me all this conceptual stuff from your movie that you were in.
Yeah.
And because you made me think that it was Interstellar the video game, and it wasn't.
Sure.
You could have just said Exodus.
Yeah, I didn't. In the moment, you're right, Jeff. In the moment, I wasn't sitting there thinking all these critical things, but it was only in retrospect, and honestly, in some cases, seeing other opinions out there that I hadn't thought of.
Yeah.
Of like, yeah, you're right. They didn't give devs much time. Like, as I thought about these small teams, and this might be the one game that some of these teams ever get nominated for, and if they win, and they're just mentioned offhand by Jeff as he goes to the next celebrity and the next developer that gets on there every year. You know, that's frustrating moment.
Where's the moment of like celebration for Baldur's Gate was announced as the winner at one point in several of the categories that Jeff rattled off. It was like community support, RPG, like back to back. It was something else too.
It was a multiplayer.
And I was like, they get like no opportunity to celebrate one of those when they're back to back like that. Like, I don't know. There's a better way to do that. I don't know what it is. Obviously, but that's not my job to come up with solutions.
We're just here to complain.
We're just here to complain. That's all it is, and offer no solution.
Hey, we're critiquing.
That's right.
I don't know. I just think that it might even sour some developers from showing up to even accept awards in the future if they continue going down this road. So that's the main concern of mine, is like the longevity of the award show the way it currently is for the award recipients.
If we had done this episode right after, and we kind of did this really quickly as a sum up to close out our live reaction, I wouldn't have really thought like, yeah, no, for a long show they did the best they could. I think they did a pretty good job. It's this is just in retrospect and really hearing from especially people in the industry who are just kind of like, well, that was a bummer. Like we kind of just got glossed over. So
Alana did have a follow-up video on this because I watched the one that you talked about last week where she mentions voting and who votes, which is all on, by the way, it's all on the Game Awards website. You can look up the voting body. So people can stop with the whole. It's just the games that Jeff's like.
It's a super wide variety of people
internationally
in the industry, international. Yeah, it's a big group of people.
But she has a follow up. I haven't watched it yet, but I watched the start of the video, the very very beginning, so I could save it to my watch list or whatever because YouTube sucks at loading that button for me. And she mentions the basically the same thing, exactly what we're talking about, awards to marketing ratio. And I'm like, oh, that's what this is about. Okay, cool. And she does talk about at the beginning how important this is for some people in the industry because this is all they get, you know?
Yeah. At least it makes sense that she made a follow up because I think she really was downplaying how important this is. I think she meant that for us, the fans.
Right.
Like it's not that
for
important
your
for
opinion,
us,
your personal opinion on Game of the Year.
Yes. Yeah. Like it is not a personal thing to me. Like for me, Tears of the Kingdom is my favorite Game of the Year. It's not a personal attack on me that this governing body didn't pick it as their favorite Game of the Year. It just means they picked a different one. Like that's all that means. That's literally all it means.
And it could just mean one extra voter voted for it over the other one. Yeah.
And it could just mean like everyone kind of we should pick Baldur's Gate 3, right? Like Nintendo won, like let's pick this one. Like who knows? And it, honestly, kind of who cares? There was a lot of deserving games, and like it's not that big of a deal. I'm a little more I think aware now, having seen a lot of the responses, that this does mean a lot. To people who put their heart and soul into the work.
Right.
And some of them, Sam Lake's a great example, got a chance to shine and really enjoy and kind of bask in the glow of all his hard work, him and his team. Of course, tons of hard work for Alan Wake too. It's really an incredible game in a genre that's not usually my favorite. So it's really an incredible feat. But not everyone got to enjoy that glow.
Especially indie devs. I mean, those teams could be literally one person. You know,
I feel like they keep adding.
Didn't Cocoon team go up or no?
Yes, you're right. They did. Debut indie. Yeah,
Cocoon team got to go, so that was good. That was good.
That was good to see.
We can keep moving.
Well, I will mention that my obsession with award shows mainly has to do with the nominees themselves. Like, I mean, I don't know about y'all, but you get some of these games that you're like, what the hell is that? I want to play that. That looks cool. Sometimes, or you're just talking about. It's just the fact that you're talking about all the great stuff that came out in a single year, all together on a list and seeing it. Like, I don't know. It's the same for me with movies. Like. I'm not sitting here going, this is an amazing award show, unless they have amazing trailers after showing too. But it's about the nominees for me. Like, it's like, yes, I agree. Look at this year. It's crazy good. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, though. I am excited for 2024 now, and in some cases 2025.
I think in most cases,
this show did have a lot of cool announcements. Let's go through some of them that I think were notable, and you guys feel free as we go down, you can see on the notes the list I put in. Feel free if I skip one, then just help me circle back to it if you really want to talk about it. First one I want to call out is I think World of Goo 2 being revealed is actually a relatively big deal. That game was a huge deal back in the late 2000s, right? 2008 maybe.
I didn't even catch that. World of Goo 2.
World of Goo 2. And it's coming out in 2024. Same dev and publisher, the Tomorrow Company, or Tomorrow Corporation, I think. But anyway, yeah, that game was a lot of fun, especially on the Wii. Like the point at the screen and kind of like pick where you put your little pieces and create the physics-based engine, and it was all very goofy and silly. So to me, that's a pretty exciting one, just in terms of a fun family puzzle game that we will absolutely be playing on the big screen. So I'm excited for World of Goo 2. The first one is still a lot of fun. I recommend it. I think it's on all kinds.
I had it on a tablet actually, which was kind of cool. Tapping it
works
and
on a tablet pretty well.
Connecting each other. Yeah, it worked pretty well.
Yeah, not a bad game for a touchscreen for sure. Thrasher is a new game from this Thumper dev, and I thought the style of this looks really cool. With that centipede flying around in space, whatever.
Neon.
Thumper was a fun kind of on rails rhythm game, and this looks like it's also rhythm based from what I could tell. So I did not piece this together. We were talking too much. Jeff was drinking his Dudesy Stout, so we missed some things.
It's all genuinely everything is my fault. Every complaint we've had about the show.
I did not, even my audio not coming through, your fault. I did not put together this Windblown game that we immediately started joking around about, animal characters. Here we go again. I didn't pick up that this is the Dead Cells dev.
Oh,
I didn't know that either.
So it's their new game. So I should have sat up in my seat when I saw that. Like, it says from the creators of Dead Cells in the trailer. But
and we did say, amidst the jokes, look at that combat though.
Yeah, that combat looks fun. Well, that's why, because Dead Cells has made some of the best combat ever. Yeah. And so, but now it's an isometric action game, and like I rewatched the trailer once I saw someone say that's a cool new game from the Dead Cells people. I was like, which one? Did I miss something? So anyway, Windblown now.
What you guys get for making fun of animal people. That's what
I know, you're right. It's on us.
Animals aren't people, Dan.
They are here.
So Windblown is now on my wish list on Steam. I'm very excited for that one because Dead Cells is a phenomenal game. So
it is.
One of the best.
I'm excited about
Hot take. One of the best action games ever.
Yeah.
Hey.
Jeff, tell me about this Pixar Disney looking game. You thought this one looked pretty good too.
I like the artwork. I don't know that the gameplay itself.
It's called. How do you say
Harmonium musical. Yeah.
The musical.
It literally looks like a Pixar movie, not in the way that Dan says it about everything that looks good, but
okay. All right. Okay.
But in the way that
it's not my fault you guys don't understand styles of things, okay, and quality.
But the actual art style, quite literally, it feels lifted from a Pixar movie, and the only thing is, I think it's rhythm oriented.
It is
the gameplay, so I don't
describe it as a narrative rhythm adventure featuring a deaf. And so that part, I saw
the Highland Song game is kind of like that too. There's some elements of that too in that game. So I mean, if it plays like that, then I'll probably get hooked on it. But yeah, I'm intrigued by just the art style alone. I mean, that's a really ambitious art style to go with for a video game.
Lovely. Like this is the kind of game that you see like, well, this just looks super happy. Like So I don't know. I'm interested in this one. No release date.
That was pre-show, right? Was that?
It was pre-show. Yeah,
okay. I think it was right as we were kind of logging in, figuring things out.
Because some of this, I'm like with World of Goo 2, for example, I was like, I don't remember that. Like, it's like, okay,
I totally missed that one. Yeah.
Let's keep going here. The first Berserker Kazan I thought looked really cool. The style almost had like a Souls-looking game, but then with anime character design. Like it was really a cool combo of things. It reminded me a little bit of that. There was a Souls game that was an anime style 2 years ago, maybe. I forget what it's called now.
You said it was or wasn't anime style?
There was one that was anime style, but it was super dark, Souls-like.
Code Vein.
Yes. Yeah. So it gives me a little bit of Code Vein vibes, just in terms of like the style of it. That's all. But a little bit like, since it's Berserker, Viking vibe, big axe, that kind of thing. But that one I thought looked pretty cool.
I like that.
I did not see this one. I think I'd stepped away to help with bedtime for the kids, but the first Descendant was this third-person looter shooter coming out this summer. Looks really cool.
You say looter shooter though, and I'm like,
I always wait to see what the impressions are first. Yeah.
I'm usually on the fence with that genre too. I love Borderlands. I think those games are a lot of fun, and I consider those to be RPG / looter shooters in a lot of ways.
Okay, that's true. Yeah.
This does look cool. How do I not remember this either? Was this also pre-show?
It all blends together when they're
I think it was when I was
shooters
stepping away, but it could have been earlier.
Yeah, I don't even remember this, Jeff. Like,
we got a release date for Space Marine 2, which is September 9th. So I kind of like knowing some second half of the year games too. So that doesn't really bother me. I know it's a longer wait for fans of the IP who were hoping for a 2023 release, and then it got delayed to an unknown date. Now it's September 9th.
Well, and it feels like an achievable release date instead of like a February one where I go, well, that's going to get delayed again, you know?
And Jeff, it feels achievable for you and me to maybe finally install and play the first game.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Like we keep
feels
talking
beatable.
About. Feels.
Please let the summer be like a few dry months.
Let's see here. I'm going to jump down to the Tales of Kenzera Zhao. That was one where we had a guy came out and introduced it, and he was kind of getting emotional, and we were being jerks during his intro.
Typical.
But then we saw the game, and we were all like, all right, well, that looks kind of cool, I guess. Like, it does look really cool.
It looks awesome. Yeah.
Definitely some Ori vibes there. Some Ori vibes.
Yep. 2D action platformer, and it has an actual release date, not just a window, of April 23rd. So that's pretty neat.
Good for him. He comes out, he's like, listen, this is like my life's work and like all that. Y'all aren't listening, but this is my life's work. And then he drops a date. I mean, that's fantastic. I love it.
An
actual
one of the best kind of releases, honestly.
That's right.
Yes, exactly.
Or reveals. Yeah.
Yeah.
We got a release date for Black Myth Wukong, which is August 20th.
Yes.
By the way, I didn't realize there's a lot of controversy around this game with the developer and things that he has said and things that are happening
or something.
All kinds of stuff over there in China with this team. China. So anyway, look some of that up. It's a little interesting. Like, listen, I'm not like a boycott type person in most scenarios. I'm not suggesting that. It's just an interesting background to what I thought was just kind of.
It is funny to see it like when in a Game Awards recap on IGN or wherever, when they're like, this is everything that was announced during the Game Awards, and then you see this one, and at the end it says the CEO still has not commented on harassment claims, and I'm like, what the hell does that have to do with this?
Yeah,
this reveal or whatever. Like it's like it just feels like a randomly tacked on link to another news article.
The CEO has pretty publicly said some things that are like, you can't say that.
It was like the company or CEO has not commented on blah blah blah. And I'm like, what?
It is China. They're kind of loose cannons over there.
Things happening.
It's not America, guys. I don't know what to tell you.
It's true. That's true.
Hey, and on February 28th, we are getting a really pretty looking remake of Brothers: A Tale of Two Sons, and I'm excited for that.
At first, I thought the rumor was remaster. I totally missed the remake part. I just in my head, I was like, it's just a remaster. Who cares? Right. This looks freaking incredible.
Looks really pretty.
I'm so ready to cry all over again at this game, dude.
Me too. Yeah. Even though I know it's coming. Oh, you never played it?
Yeah,
oh my god!
You guys have sung its praises, and I've heard good things. I just never.
It's an interesting game because it feels like this could be 2-player, but they very specifically set it up as 1-player with the 2 analog sticks controlling the different brothers. So like, and
there's a really great moment in the third act that's like related to the controls that just.
I was gonna say the controls are actually built into the story in a way. It's really interesting.
Yep. And actually, the remake design looks more like you're up close and personal on a lot of these epic moments in the game. Yeah. Whereas in the original, it's a lot of top-down stuff, especially when you're dealing with giants and stuff like that.
Yeah, after playing Bramble the Mountain King, seeing something like this, I'm like, oh, this is like an even because I thought that game was actually pretty good looking for being a smaller dev team, at least at moments. And this is like, oh, okay, this looks even better than that. Like this looks amazing.
Yeah. I was totally floored by this, and this was like the first thing that they showed in the pre-show, and I was like, "What are you doing in the pre-show, bro? This is one of the best games ever."
February 28th for that one, right alongside Rebirth. Right? Isn't that the same? Like the day before? Is that one? Isn't that
February day 28th? Before? You're right. Yeah, because it's a leap year. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Yep. So basically, everybody beat it. So Dan, you're gonna have to beat it. The 28th. Just stream the game until you beat it because it's like 6 hours or whatever.
You can do it. And the whole time you're just sitting there thinking about Cloud and Sephiroth.
That's all I ever think about.
Senua's Saga Hellblade 2 might have been the biggest missed opportunity. Had a really cool music performance. Not like the kind of music I would sit and jam out to, but it was just a cool set and the way that they had everyone in costume and then the trailer they showed. Of course, it looks incredible and terrifying and weird, and it's like, all right, here comes the release date, 2024. That's all it says. So like, to me, that's a missed opportunity. I understand setting a release date is scary. I totally get it, but I think we've seen this game for now. What has it been? 6 years or something that they've been talking about this game. Maybe not that long.
Yeah.
And we've seen, like you keep joking about, Jeff, all these new behind the scenes. Check out this trailer, and here's how we made it. And then like the game is just quiet for like a year and a half, and then like here's another behind the scenes. You're like, why? Give us the game in front of the scenes.
Why?
Yeah.
And so anyway, I thought that was a big miss, even if they had to say like summer 2024, like even a window would have been a step above, but 2024 I was very disappointed personally.
I don't know, but at the same time though, people then are like, oh, then you missed that window, and they're like, oh, dead game, blah blah blah. And so I don't know, man.
Dan, they're already saying that about this game. That's my point. Part of me is like, I almost would have respected it a little more if they didn't even bother putting a year on it, because it's like, hey, we're just showing you more cool stuff in this game that we're working on. But I don't know. I'm not saying there's a perfect way to do it, but seeing just
there is a Fallout 4 method.
I'm like, oh yeah, there is a Fallout 4 method. Yeah. You're right.
The Fallout 4 method. That's the perfect.
And everyone loved that game without any exceptions, right?
Yes, yeah,
and zero problems too.
Yeah, no problems.
You can tell with the Hellblade. It's not a reveal. Reveal. At the Game Awards that it's clear how much they care about making sure the gameplay works. Unlike
looked like a lot of gameplay.
Unlike a Bethesda game that we're talking about, like the Fallout 4, the Starfield, whatever. They want to make sure that it's as seamless as possible, especially considering how lifelike that footage looks. I get it. I totally get it. Yeah. But it's still kind of like, if you put a year on it like that, that tells me that there's a possibility it could come out 2025. Like, I mean,
that's what I think too. Is that negative? That's pretty negative, I think.
I know it is, but like, and I've whatever. And also Kyle mentioned in the chat, because he wasn't part of the live stream, he was doing his own thing with some buddies, in person. Who does that?
Yeah. What the heck?
But people
he mentioned that he saw the band that played the song before the trailer. He saw them live. I think their name is Highland.
That's cool.
Yeah, and apparently that is their thing. That's what they do. They dress like that, and
there you go.
Cool.
Do like a cool theatrical show.
Hey, that's a niche that there's not much competition in. So
yeah,
sense,
exactly.
Yeah. Visions of Mana is confirmed as a new entry in the Mana series from Square Enix, coming out in 2024. Cool. Yeah. I really thought Secret of Mana, because the characters and then two of the enemies, I was like, I've seen that enemy in the Super Nintendo. I swear I've seen it. But it turns out, no, this is a brand new entry in that series, which is very cool. I thought it looked great. Yeah. It looked very lovely.
Nice
awesome.
Game.
Yeah.
I've never played any of these because, even as close as 2 years ago, I would not touch any of these type of games. But this looks great. I actually can't wait for something like this.
I still think Secret of Mana is one of the great SNES RPGs out there. I mean, it's action.
Damn, that far back. Wow.
Yeah, and it was an action. Yeah, that was what was cool about it. It was not turn-based.
They had a really cool like charge up attack system, and I loved their progression. Like, I loved that game a lot. But that was my first experience with a game that was action, and yet you would pause it to go through menus to select different things.
Right.
And it was like these little radial menus around the characters. Yeah, and I know that Coder, of course, ended up doing that in a brand new way later with BioWare. But like, I always thought Secret of Mana was one of the earliest ones to do action RPG where you can still pause it and do RPG type stuff. But anyway. So there you go, Visions of Mana. Jurassic Park Survival is truly a first-person, they're calling it action survival game.
That's exciting.
From Saber.
Dude.
Set in the first movie.
Yeah.
Which is an even bigger sell for me. Like, if it was Jurassic World, I'd be like, piss off. It's going to be terrible.
If Chris Pratt showed up.
Yeah.
Well,
he's just doing this for.
Yeah, he's just like, whoa.
That was the third movie, was like a parody of his character from the first movie, the first Jurassic World, where he's literally just doing this to every dinosaur he sees. He's just.
That I will absolutely do it. If I ever get face to face with like a legit large predator animal, I'm just gonna
sure.
I bit my hands off.
It didn't work, Chris. It didn't work. Anyway, that had no release date on it, but I was joking around about like, hey, let's, because we were talking about Far Cry in the Avatar universe, and I was like, oh, Far Cry with Jurassic Park, and I'm not saying that's what this is, but there is apparently an action and survival element to it, which you could argue that Far Cry has those things.
And also, my concern was this. Oh, please don't say VR, because it did.
Right.
Any first-person experience like this that looks this immersive could be a VR game, but no, it didn't. It didn't have that tag in any of the consoles it listed. So.
Yep.
Yes.
Exciting.
I went to the website just to see, like, did they just not put a release date in the trailer? But no, there is no released window even listed. There's actually like an email sign up to get more info on its release. Sign up here. Like, so there's no info on the release for that one.
Yeah.
It's from Saber though, so I think it's fair to expect more
Sabre?
a double
yes, damn it,
Sabre. It's more. I think it's appropriate to expect a double A level of quality from this one, but it still could be a lot of fun.
It'll be a new day with Dunder Mifflin and
Sabre.
There was
Saber.
The casting of Frank Stone, which is the Dead by Daylight dev, and Supermassive.
So I was like shocked that was. I was like, oh, Dead by Day. Apparently, they had already announced this. So this is just
I didn't realize
unveiling of like actual like what it is. So.
Yeah, so this is them collaborating. It is apparently its own standalone kind of cinematic adventure experience or whatever, just in the Dead by Daylight world. So it's not like an add-on or DLC or anything. It's its own experience that you'll play.
Until
it just
Dawn
happens to be
experience.
set in that world.
So only thing that I find a little bit of a bummer is it's all different people. Like I thought it would have been a cool tie-in to have some of the survivors like voice acted and like seeing their personalities like acted out like in a game like this, but no, it's all new people. So I mean, still cool, but you know, would have been a cool homage to DBD.
Tango Gameworks lost, and I'm blanking on her name. I looked it up so I wouldn't forget it, and I totally forgot it. But she was the one who came out on stage, and we were like, "Oh, she's likable. She's got good energy about her." Like, she left Tango Gameworks, and this is her first project. It's called Kamuri, and it had these really cool visuals. If you guys remember what that looked like, it just had a really cool. It's an action game, and just the way it moved and the way the setting and the characters all looked very, very cool, very slick style.
You're talking about the one who left Ghostwire Tokyo.
Yeah. She was on the Ghostwire Tokyo.
Yeah. That's around the time she left before it came out.
And so she, this is her new studio, and that's their first game, Kamuri. No release date on that one either. One of the funniest reveals was from the Untitled Goose Game dev. This game called Big Walk. The dev team's called House. Like it's everything about it's funny. Everything about it's funny.
They're just
House.
They're very simple people, you know, just a couple of words, you know.
Them and Coffee Stain, who does the Goat Sim games, like they just get what they're doing better than most developers even dream to, you know, achieve some sort of vision.
And Devolver is another one of those publishers that I'm just kind of like, yeah, man, they I like how they think, how self-aware they are. But yeah, Big Walk. You're these dumb-looking Play-Doh bugs in the very realistic, more realistic-ish looking world. Very funny. It looks like a multiplayer game. You got to team together, physics-based.
Their arms are up like this the whole time.
Yeah, just flopping around.
I can't wait for all the emotes. I just can't wait, dude.
I feel like this is going to be a really fun, like, streaming game. It's great streaming material for a game like this. But that's 2025.
All right, Murph, let's talk about this next game, Slick.
So what do you guys think about Exodus? It's from ex-BioWare devs, which I didn't really piece together.
Interstellar Exodus.
But so McConaughey's character, the character that he plays at least, some folks are now thinking there might be some kind of generative AI involved with his character because of the way he says that his character will interact with you. So that could have just been McConaughey overselling things like he usually does. Like he just kind of really gets.
He would never.
A little bit. Just a little bit. So, but anyway, that'd be interesting, right? If you've got an NPC whose relationship with you is kind of powered by generative AI that will adjust to you. Like, I don't know. That's interesting. It's not all scripted, you know.
I think they're definitely going for, especially considering the developer's background, they're definitely going for that Mass Effect type of experience in this game based on the very little gameplay we saw. But just the verbiage they were using, it does seem like they're trying to go for that next gen. Current gen now, but whatever. Maybe even on the next consoles.
It might be. There's no release date.
Yeah, exactly. There's no release date, so it could be PS6. But PS6.
That's a weird title already.
Yeah, I know. They already have to change it up.
PS6. What?
PS6. Yeah. PS6.
I don't like it.
PS6.
Real aggressive.
So I definitely feel like they're trying to do a choice. They're going to try to do a choice-based thing, like bring Mass Effect back to the roots of what made it great, even though it's not a Mass Effect.
Definitely time is involved. Interstellar style time is involved here too. So
time. That's
speaking of Ori, No Rest for the Wicked is the next game from Moon Studios. This is an isometric action RPG from that team. It looks really cool.
Yeah, this looks awesome.
Very cool, like kind of fantasy setting. I thought it looked great. That's coming out sometime in 2024. So between that and the Dead Cells devs both doing these very stylish isometric action games, I think we're in for a treat next year. And with that genre of so I'm excited for that one too. I have to at least mention what Fortnite is doing. They are kind of becoming a little more Minecraft/Roblox-y with their approach. They're opening up their game to be more of a platform, where of course their Fortnite Battle Royale is the cornerstone of everything they're doing. Still, I don't think that'll ever change. But now they've got rocket racing and this Lego World thing. They got all these new experiences, these new Fortnite games that aren't Fortnite that you can launch through that platform. So it's an interesting way for them to kind of open up and kind of expand their brand and continue to partner with other IPs. That doesn't just mean it's a new skin in their Battle Royale game. So I don't know. It's creative. My son tried it. He loves Rocket League, loves Fortnite. He goes, I don't really like the racing, but I might try it again. But that was his initial take on it. But
so it's trash, is what you're saying. That's
he said it's awful. It's the
current gen opinion.
Their business is falling apart because of this. Is what I'm saying.
Yep. I'd be surprised if they lasted a year.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
Bastards, poor bastards.
So Don't Nod is making another. Oh shoot, what was that called? Life is Strange type of a game. This one's called Lost Records Bloom and Rage. Comes out sometime in 2024. It looks very Life is Strange vibes. A little bit of Stand By Me with the kind of looked like a group of 3 or 4 young girl characters who are now adults, and crazy things and supernatural things maybe have happened. So I'm into it, man. I thought the trailer looked good. It just looked like another cool Don't Nod story-based game at a glance, at least. So
Jeff got really very excited about the lesbians. Jeff was excited about the lesbians.
He did get a little too excited about that, didn't he? Yeah, I thought that. Just kidding. Just kidding. Oh my word! Speaking of getting excited for stuff, Skull and Bones has a release date, guys.
Oh my god!
February 16th.
It's real.
February 16th, and I put right by that note. By the way, I highly doubt that's actually happening. But they have a new trailer for it, and I will make fun of this game along with you guys. I will absolutely play this game in some way, shape, or form. Whether that means I actually bite the bullet and buy it if the early, returns sound really positive somehow. Or at the very least, I will get Ubisoft for a month, their subscription service, and try it. Just because I love Sea of Thieves. It's one of my favorite kind of like online persistent, experiences. I really like that game a lot, and this game looks like it's going to do some of that stuff with some of the Assassin's Creed 4 aesthetic. I don't know. I'm going to give it a try, but this is really funny to me that it's got a release date. And if you pre-order it, you can play it. Or if you get some certain edition, you can get it 3 days early. They're like February 13th, maybe.
3 days before the day it does not come out.
That's right.
Even funnier to me was the order of the trailer. Because normally it's footage.
They were like, release date.
What is this? But this time they didn't even show Ubisoft. It just said Skull and Bones release date, and then it was the rest of the game.
You're right.
And it was almost like they were kind of being like, just get this over with. It's our game.
Just
here's the date.
Release date out there. Yeah.
Do it. Just for God's sakes. Just please.
Release this thing, please. All right. So that's happening, I guess.
Put a bullet in our skulls.
We got
turn us into bones.
Another release date announced, which was for Rise of the Ronin, that PS5 exclusive coming out on, I think it's PS5 exclusive, March 22nd.
Team Ninja, yeah.
Very
this
excited
looks
for
rad.
that.
This looks really cool. I'm just going to have to wait for more hands-on. I know a lot of people got hands-on like a couple months. I don't know. It was over the summer, like a few months ago. People got serious hands-on with this game and the open world traversal and stuff. And they were kind of saying that it wasn't a Souls-like. Like they were kind of saying it's a little easier, but it is still like precision-oriented, a lot of the combat. So like, I just need to hear more. That's it. I just want to hear more from people that know Souls-like games, and because I'm not a Souls-like gamer, I can't do those well.
Is it just the word Souls-like being thrown out there, or is for God's sakes?
If it's like Ghost of Tsushima, which obviously had difficulty sliders, like
Ghost of the
game. I'm totally.
That's what my impression of this is.
Right. That's what my impression was too. And then I saw some of the combat, and I was like, "That looks tricky."
I gotta tell you, there are elements of Ghost of the Tsushima that you could compare to some Souls games. There are elements of it.
Sure.
the precision in the combat. And
yeah,
stuff
it depends
like that.
on the difficulty you
and all that.
You select though.
But
at the same
it is
time.
not a Souls-like. I don't think this is a Souls-like either.
I hope not.
There might just be some comparisons to the combat, which is
well,
not
and it's
by
Team
itself.
Ninja. Team Ninja did Neo.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right.
See, that's why
but
I just like
on its own, comparing it to the Souls-like combat, sort of. I don't think people should be so scared of that part of it. It's a matter of like, what's the overall gameplay? What's the core gameplay like? Is it a loop? Is it punishing? Is it, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, punishing is the thing I'm looking for. Yes.
Yeah.
Fill me in, folks.
Let me know.
Fill me up. Fill my holes.
That's what she
Dan,
said.
My knowledge holes.
Yeah. What are those? Dan, we got some Final Fantasy 16 DLC. Not only did they announce 2 DLCs for Final Fantasy 16, but they shadow dropped one of them right then. Announced the other one so we have Rising Tide coming in the spring. Echoes of the Fallen is out now. Dude, that was crazy. Did you expect that? I know they had said we're going to work on DLC, but did you expect that?
Well, yeah.
I thought that was coming next year.
No. It seems really it's apparently pretty short. It's very short. But still, like, no, I was not expecting that at all. I do like that the second DLC, which people were theorizing, that was going to be Leviathan based. And hoping for, which it is, which is awesome.
I think it'll be a bigger experience.
Yeah, I think especially since we're not getting it for however long.
It said spring was the
spring. Okay.
roadmap.
Yeah, so I think that will be a little more because you're involving an actual summon in that, and you're going to be fighting the summon. So that's like they're going to probably have to expand story wise on that.
Okay.
But this, I think this, from what I heard, does have lore stuff too. It's not just like a quick whatever thing. It does have like some cool lore stuff in there. And a sick boss fight. And apparently the music in the boss fight is like insane and like amazing, which I mean, not shocked. I mean, obviously. But yeah, no, was not expecting a shadow drop for 16. What a year, guys. What a year.
Yeah. Like when they kept asking, who's the director of the games again?
Yoshida.
Yeah, they kept asking him like at conventions, like, "Hey, so that DLC expansion or whatever," and he would just not verbally answer them. He would just nod and smile. Yeah. I saw it. To me, I took that as okay, maybe next year then. Okay,
sure.
Next year. Yeah. So for us to get like a shadow drop, sure, it's only 2 hours tops, like maybe a little more than that. But even just more of. Yeah, my favorite game of the year. Like, yes, I'll take it. Absolutely.
And again, like a really fun boss fight apparently at the end, and just a great moment. So,
well, I'll skip ahead a little bit just because it connects. Another PS5 game with out of nowhere DLC is God of War Ragnarok Valhalla DLC hitting this coming week, December 12th. Now it's a little more that arena based, roguelike thing where you can go in and just kind of you're taking on wave after wave of enemies is the vibe that I'm getting. But dude, that's awesome. Free DLC for God of War Ragnarok. That's great. That's a good reason to jump back in and play more of that absolutely stunning game. So, and that's this week on the 12th is when you can play that. So that was really cool. I loved when they showed him and all of a sudden I had this panic like, did they already make a third game? Are they out of the... Oh,
yeah, dude. I was like, no freaking way.
Yeah.
And then when I heard Mimir's voice, I was like, what? No, that's not possible. Like, we're done with this world.
Right.
I thought it was going to be
but they're doing the Last of Us 2 thing. That's really cool. The remaster, I should say.
Yeah. I thought they were going to do like a DLC, but that was my first.
So it is DLC, but it's not like story based.
Well, that's what I mean. I thought it was going to be like a, like an actual, like almost like the Miles Morales, like something like that, Yeah.
Which I could see them doing at some point.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's still cool. And then let me jump back a little bit. We have a new project from the No Man's Sky team, Hello Games, called Light No Fire, and they're 5 years into development, which is really impressive because they've spent so much time fixing No Man's Sky and adding to that. I'm like, how do you have time to build something else? And I think this is one of those things where No Man's Sky was announced and it took forever for it to come out. It felt like forever for those of us who were waiting for it. And when it did come out, like Dan said during the live reaction, there are some of us, Dan and I included, that enjoyed it. We did, but overall it was not like it wasn't what they said. If you go back and look at everything they were saying about it, it did not meet expectations for a lot of folks, and I understand the complaints. If you go play it now, I think it's one of the coolest space exploration games out there. It's super, super fun. There's so much to do. It's an absolutely insane game, especially the download size. It's like, I think it's less than 20 gigs. It's an insane small download size for what is in that game. Okay, so with that context, same guy comes out, talks big about this game, but there was a little bit of a different vibe to him. It was a little bit more humble, a little bit more like, I hope you guys like it. Like we're pretty nervous. Like, so I think there's good reason to trust them. They have crushed it with No Man's Sky over the last few years. They've done a great job.
They have, and they continue to keep releasing new stuff. When they showed the montage of all of the expansions or whatever updates you want to call them, I was like, I didn't know they released that many. Like I only remembered like 5, maybe
like
4
5 a year or something for the last couple of years.
It's insanity.
Yeah. Every couple months, it's like, here's a new thing. And they list this huge bullet point list of all the additions. I'm like, what? You can have a fleet of ships now? Like all kinds of stuff they keep adding. So I thought Light No Fire looked really cool. It's this bit like kind of fantasy world looking. It's like one planet where you can dig underground, but the idea is not to like go somewhere else. You are in one place, exploring with friends, building. Dan, you called it No Man's Valheim, which I thought was a great spin on that because you saw people building and crafting and writing. So anyway, I'm very, very interested in this, but of course, no release date listed yet. I think it'll be a few years out, but it's a cool looking new project from that team.
Saw some funny memes. Was it Walter White when he's screaming in the van or truck or whatever? Where he's like, no, and it's like, no, Sean, no, don't announce don't oversell the game, no.
He actually retweeted some people telling him like, Sean, don't oversell it. He retweeted like, oh F, like, like he's having a good. I think he's having some fun with.
He's playing it up. Yeah. He's like, no, I've been here before. I know. Yeah,
that's good. I loved the Sega games sizzle reel. They kind of teased before the Game Awards, like, hey, it's going to be a new year, new energy. And, a lot of companies will do these kind of marketing things and they come up with a slogan and here's a little campaign, like, here's our new energy. This is legit. They are working on many games and they only talked about 5 of them, but apparently there's even more of their IP they're resurfacing and giving some attention to. Jet Set Radio, Shinobi, Golden Axe, Streets of Rage, and Crazy Taxi are all currently in development. And there's others too, apparently, that they haven't talked about. That's insane. Like the Golden Axe was now like this 3D action RPG looking thing, which looked just in the little clips looked cool. Crazy Taxi with a modern day looking driver.
Dude, that's crazy.
What?
That looks so great.
That's crazy.
Jet Set Radio looked cool. Streets of Rage.
Jet Set Radio. Incredibly important, right? Because haven't people for years been asking for that again? Like they're like, can we please get that again? Like it's like one of those cult classics.
And there's other games that kind of borrow from, like the most recent one was that Bomb Rush Cyber Funk or whatever that one was.
That came out this year.
Even Sunset Overdrive had some shades of Jet Set Radio with some of the way you ski around. Anyway, very cool. I like what they did. It gives me some excitement to see some old IP resurfacing. I love that.
Yeah, this might have been my favorite thing shown at the show, honestly. Like this was just so cool to see so many classic games shown at once, and they're all being remade and with current graphics and stuff. Like that's just incredible.
Yeah.
It was like a fun, quick, like just boom, boom, boom. I was like, wait, what? Yeah. Like everything that they said, it was like, wait a minute, hold on.
I didn't even need a release date. Just just seeing how far along they already are in this stuff was already reassuring enough. Like I was just like, holy crap.
Yeah, and Sega, I don't think they have a horrible reputation for delaying. Like Sonic Frontiers, everyone thought would get delayed, but they delivered and it was a really solid game. So like I think at least a couple of these will see a release in 2024. Just don't know which ones. One of the more surprising announcements, I thought, was that the team behind Deathloop, so this is one of the Arcane studios, I forget which one, but it's the one behind Deathloop, not the ones behind Redfall. They are building a single-player, third-person game, Blade, Marvel's Blade. And it's going to be set in Paris. And I don't know, it's very important for me to keep pointing out, this is the Deathloop team. This is not the Redfall team.
And Dishonored. Deathloop and Dishonored.
Yes. Deathloop and Dishonored teams. Yes. So, anyway, but they said it's just now in development. Like this is years away, but very cool. Now, one thing that was interesting, this company is owned by Microsoft, and I've seen a lot of people point this out, I'm just echoing it. It did not say Xbox. It didn't see Microsoft or Xbox logo anywhere in this trailer. It didn't say only on Xbox or day one with Game Pass. Like you didn't see any of the normal.
That's an interesting catch.
Things.
Yeah.
Huh. So I don't know what that means. Does that mean anything?
Maybe I think it might.
What does it mean?
No, I was gonna say Marvel might be like, well, you can only use this if you can release it on multiple platforms, but they let Spider-Man be on one console, which is well, I mean, there's some PC release for the remaster and Miles Morales, but yeah, I don't know. That's interesting.
Yeah. It could just be one of those things where the game is so far out, there's no need to say that right now.
Right. Right.
On the other hand, if you're Microsoft, you need to continue momentum. I think there's relatively positive momentum coming out of this year. You've had some pretty good exclusives. Not everyone loved them. I get it. But like, I think you've got some momentum. I think they could have. But whatever.
They have award-winning momentum this year.
One award.
Hi-Fi Rush just won.
Yeah, they got one award-winning momentum.
Yeah, I think there you go.
Let's see here. The new Kojima game, we referenced that already. This game called OD. We don't really know what it is, but it's going to be creepy.
And they were saying a bunch of gibberish when they were talking. Go figure.
But the zoom in on the characters with the light reflections in their eyes and the door opening in the reflection, like the creativity and creepiness continues to, like, it's hard not to just be like, dude, how did they think of that? This is so cool looking, so creative, so weird. So despite my criticism of the time they spent on it earlier, this has nothing to do with my excitement for what Kojima and Pio will do together in creating this thing. I am excited for that.
Kojima has been wanting to do a horror game for a long time. Yeah. So good for him. Good for him.
Good for him.
You.
Good for you. Last but not least, the final reveal was Monster Hunter Wilds, which I don't usually get things right. When I see something, I'll call out the name of an IP that I think of immediately, and I'm usually wrong. But I was right on this one, and no one could hear it because my audio wasn't working. But
so you get no credit.
You get no credit. But you guys heard it. You better agree with me. But
no, you didn't say. You were quiet this whole reveal.
Shut up. Monster Hunter Wilds was revealed for 2025. I did read up on this a little bit. They're saying that Monster Hunter World in 2018 kicked off what they call the 5th gen of Monster Hunter, which included Monster Hunter Rise and all the DLC that came with both those games. And so now this is considered the 6th generation of Monster Hunter. So this is now kind of the next thing after World. So it's not saying that Rise wasn't a major release. It was. Rise was an awesome game. I loved that game. But that was kind of an add-on with Worlds. If you played those games, a lot of similar like World and like environments and monsters and that kind of thing. A lot of behaviors are the same, a lot of shared stuff. This is a brand new generation of it. And with mounts that apparently can glide or float or fly.
Yeah, that look cool.
Hey, you gotta up the ante,
Yeah. So anyway, I'm of course excited for that. It's kind of cool to have that distant game to like, oh yeah, don't forget Capcom's got a new Monster Hunter in 2025. So that was a nice reveal. Maybe not like earth shattering for many people, but a really cool.
I think it's just me though. I feel like everybody I know that games loves these games, and I'm the only one that's like
Monster Hunter.
I don't need to play
it's like if it might be their most profitable. Maybe Resident Evil is. I don't know.
Well, Worlds is what launched it into that stratosphere. All the other games were a little more niche and sold well, right? It's a successful.
Well, in Japan, I think in Japan they sell.
In Japan, it sells well, but like even their international sales, it never even sniffed the Resident Evil sales or some of their other franchises. I think with Worlds, it actually started to get into that echelon of like, dude, we're in the double-digit millions with this game.
Yeah, because for a while there, they were doing a lot of mobile ones, and that's big in Japan. Yeah. So they they're all.
Yeah, they did some DS and 3DS magic to make those games somehow functional.
Yeah.
So yeah, they did a good. Capcom does a really good job. When it comes to their major franchises, at least for the most part. All right, that's it for the Game Awards. We've already talked about our overall thoughts on it. Let's move on to some new stuff. Unless you guys have anything else that I missed that I skipped.
I wrote down Pony Island 2 I'm significantly interested in. Only because
it looks so weird.
The Inscription developer.
Yeah.
And I have never played anything Inscription did before, especially the first Pony Island. But the fact that Inscription was so good and sold me on a freaking card game, which no card game has ever been able to do that for me, in a video game, I'm just like, okay, I'll play whatever you come up with next. So like,
dude,
this
that trailer is so
wild.
weird.
Yeah, I'm like, so it's
strange.
every game known to man in one game. Okay, cool. So I'm just intrigued. That's all.
Yeah,
By
think
the
of
time
like the No More Heroes dev, like how wacky he is and how weirdly he
Yeah.
combines all things. Like it's similar. Like, what is this?
It's like one guy. Yeah.
Inscription was pretty weird. It was
incredible game though. I love that.
But yeah, it was well deserving of all the praise it got. That's for sure. All right, so new stuff for this week. We got to first talk about the day before. So the day before,
there's new information dropping about this game from Reddit detectives every minute that we talk about it.
God.
So games like this sometimes are a gift. We've got plenty of good games to play.
It is a gift.
And sometimes a really like historically awful game. And we've had a lot of those this year, by the way. 2023, as excited as we are about all the great games, there have also been some lowest of the low, probably more than I'm used to seeing most years, at least as far as like marquee games that are just awful, like marquee IPs, like an awful King Kong game, an awful Lord of the Rings game with Gollum, and I think there's a couple other ones too. But this
Walking
Dead,
The
Walking Dead, yes. Oh my gosh. Yeah. But this one looks so bad, and I've actually watched a few clips of people streaming it. It's hilarious because I remember seeing it revealed. I actually put it on my wish list. I was like, this looks amazing.
Oh, me too.
It looks like a kind of an open world Division style. Like, I don't know, there's something about it that looks really cool. It is not that.
No.
It's not that.
And it's a case of false advertising, not false expectations. It's absolutely a scam of a game despite the developer's best efforts to not call it that, you know.
Didn't they apologize right before it released?
It was all but in words. They didn't say the words "I'm sorry," but they were basically pre-defending themselves and going, "This is not a scam. We've worked 5 years on this. Blah blah blah." But yeah,
it's kind of like a director who knows their movie's about to bomb, explaining why it's the audience's fault for not being interested in these movies anymore.
Getting defensive, right? Like the guy who did the remember the first Suicide Squad movie, David Ayer. Yeah. He still talks about that movie, I swear, and it's still kind of like no, trust me, my vision was really good. Trust me, bro. And now he's got a new movie coming out, and he's like, no, trust me, this is like good. It's like really good. It's very R-rated. It's good. I'm like, this is probably trash, isn't it? It's the Beekeeper movie with Jason Statham. It's so stupid. But anyway, so like the Reddit for Day Before is basically an anti-Day Before Reddit now, because at first they were super hyped about the game. They couldn't wait to drive cars around in a Division type of MMO open world RPG experience. They couldn't wait. I couldn't wait too if that's what it was. But ultimately it's an extraction shooter, and that's it.
What even is that? Because you said that while we were live streaming. I thought you were joking, because I was like, what is it even an extraction shooter? Like, I don't even.
You go to a place that's kind of confined. It's not really that open world. You go get gear and loot, and then you report back to base, and then you go get gear and loot, and it's a loop. It's basically a really gross loop. And so it's not really that loot? MMO. It's not really that MMO at all. My understanding is, at least.
Shooting anybody?
Yeah, you're shooting stuff, but it's not hordes of zombies. It's supposed to be zombies, but it's not hordes. It's like 3 or 4 come at you, and they sound like they have indigestion, and that's it. It's not even. And they're like,
my stomach.
And here's the best part about the gameplay: no melee. If you want to melee them, too bad. You can't melee.
Just shoot. Yeah.
So in that world, you don't know how to use your arms.
If you're out of bullets, just run away or lightly jog away. Apparently.
Jesus.
With your gun.
Good Lord.
Yeah. That's it. But yeah, I've seen all the funny expected bugs that in an open world game, like
it looks real bad.
Yeah, and the crashes that launch were just so significant that it bombed the score 2 hours after launch. Like it like the score on Steam is just so abysmal because people couldn't even spend 2 hours in it without getting crashes every 2 seconds. Or when they get in the game, they spawn off map outside the playable area. Like, I mean, it's just all of these glitches that are just completely, making people just go, I'm just going to get a refund and leave a bad review. That's all I can do.
Yeah. I don't understand though, because like, when a person asks for a refund through Steam, is it taking the money back from the dev? Like,
I would assume so. Yeah.
So like, what was the end game here? Because like,
I know.
I think there's more people who won't do it in time because there's a 14-day window once you buy it. You have to do it within 14 days,
like a
and
decent
you can't
window.
play it for more than a certain amount of time total.
Sure. Yeah, it's like a little. It's supposed to be 2 hours exactly, but sometimes
kind of like when you set up a free trial for somebody, and you're like, listen, a lot of people are going to cancel this because the service sucks, but there's enough people who will set it and forget it that we're going to make money off this thing. So
it could have been that type of logic. Yeah, I don't know. What Reddit just confusing. 15 hours ago, somebody made a post that they found all of the assets on the Unreal store, the Unreal Engine store. So this is not a ground up engine built whatever. They basically just spent money on their credit cards or whatever on existing assets that were free for public use, public domain, from the Unreal store. And so there's nothing really original in the game at all.
So it's $40.
Yeah,
$40. I don't think I've ever seen overwhelmingly negative on Steam before.
Yeah, this is apparently already descended into the Steam's 10 worst games ever already.
Wow.
And I think it's all because of expectations.
The screenshots still look really pretty.
Yeah,
like it looks like it should be a really high quality, great game, but it's technically in early access. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so basically it's asset flipping is what it's called in the industry. When you're taking an existing asset that's like public domain from an Unreal Engine store and then putting it in your own game and presenting it like it's your idea, and charging more for it or whatever. That's asset flipping.
I mean, is that even allowed? Because like it's like, what's the point of the assets there, right? Like, why are they there?
I mean, I guess it's allowed, but they're not going to go by the word Steam. I think they're the only seller of the game right now. They're not going to go by the word of Reddit detectives. You know what I mean? Like, I think that they're going to, I don't know if Steam's going to pressure. Has Steam ever pressured anybody to remove a game unless it's like inherently just problematic? Yeah, I just don't. I feel like the developer at the end of the day will end up making the call.
Even then, I'm not sure they remove it. I think they just kind of they're like, hey, we're just the store,
like, whatever.
Well, we're like a flea market, and people can set up their tables and sell their stuff. But and we'll just charge them a fee.
Yeah, somebody found. There's been a lot of digging done on the subreddit, and somebody found all the assets and
to channel our buddy Kyle, who's not here this tonight. Because we murdered him, right? Did we murder him?
Yeah, he's dead. Yeah,
okay, sure. But to channel what he would say sometimes when a game is just like overwhelmingly bad, it's like, well, you know what? It's one less game I have to worry about trying to play.
Yeah.
It takes that one off my plate. I'll never have to.
And this was the one big, aside from Avatar. This was the one last big one for me that I even had in my most anticipated of the year at the beginning of the year.
It was on my wish list.
Yeah.
I had it.
I was just so hyped because I love the Division games. I was so hyped for a bigger Division game experience, for somebody to give me that. Somebody give me a car, even a horse, whatever, in a Division game.
Horse.
I don't know. Whatever.
Did AI make this game?
That's what it could possibly be AI in the voice acting too. I heard that's not very good. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's been very interesting to watch. And at one point, their Discord on the day of launch was like locked down from messages because they were like the mods, who I think some of them are devs, were like, we're getting too many false reports and they're just spreading toxic stuff. Like, and I'm like, no, you're not. People are just being accurate about the game, and you lied about a lot of stuff. Like, if it's just an extraction shooter, at the end of the day, you need to remove your open world MMORPG verbiage entirely, because that's not what the game is anymore. Like, I mean, you told us that's what the game would be. It still says that in the Steam description. They're removing videos of evidence of it being that type of game on their YouTube channel, so they know what they're doing. Like, they're just trying to make a profit on a game at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I get it. All right, real quick, let's just do some quick hits of smaller games before we talk Avatar. Oh,
Avatar.
Did you guys play the Echoes of the Fallen DLC for Final Fantasy 16 yet?
I'm only like half an hour into it.
Okay.
It was actually very easy to get back into the swing of things, especially because the combat is just so intuitive. But
it is.
When you go back to, this is all occurring in existing places on your map that you've been to before. I think the next expansion, which is a proper expansion, has a different map and stuff like that. So yeah, this is more just like DLC mission. But But yeah, on your way to mission points, you encounter all these enemies, and I'm like, and they're like level 30, and I'm level 50, whatever. So, so they're going to be easier enemies for you. So it's going to help you get back in the combat loop of switching your icon and stuff like that. So I was able to kind of get back in the swing of things pretty easily. And now you can adjust your cosmetically, you can adjust the way your sword looks. So I chose the Buster Sword look, and that just feels right, dude. It feels so right.
When I saw that was a thing, I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Yeah.
Like, do you have it installed, Dan? Are you going to play it?
So because I want to do because you can buy the bundled, so you can buy was it $24.99? Yeah, like a pass of the other deal. So I'm gonna do that, but I'm just gonna wait to get some gift cards for Christmas and then do that. So,
well, I also love that they do have cosmetic options for every character in your party as well. But what I love about it, and this is like sarcastic love, is that it's like one other option.
They added that previously.
I don't love any of the other options. Yeah, okay. So I beat the game too quickly, basically.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's my problem. But it is funny changing every character over, and the only person I could change over was the brother. I forget his name already.
Joshua.
Thank you. So like his looked cool. He's mostly red, but there's a black color too that he can wear.
Okay.
And that looked cool because he looked more like Clive.
Okay.
So I was like, yeah, let's change that. But everybody else kind of looks a little, I don't know. Torgal I changed too because he's a good boy and he deserves to look cool.
Oh, he is a good boy.
He's the goodest boy.
He is.
But yeah, I'm super into it. And like the story is like kind of like, oh, by the way, there might be another Mother Crystal, and it's like, okay, come on. Yeah. But I don't care. Whatever.
What?
I like the logic behind the reason that they gave as to why there might be another Mother Crystal. It was interesting. In the lore, it was interesting. But outside of that, it's there's not really a whole reason yet to do this.
Do they reference any Leviathan stuff at all in this? Or
no, I think Leviathan is all the final expansion.
Okay. Yeah. I just didn't know if
Yeah, I think this one is Omega something.
Right, yeah, because in the Final Fantasy series, you usually have Ultima and Omega as like super bosses, or like just intertwined in the story in some way if they are, which in this case, one of those is.
Right.
But yeah, Omega is that's super awesome that's like a boss in this, whether it's, I don't know if it's like the boss or like a super boss or something, but
I like scrolled through clips of somebody playing through the entire thing just to see what the scope of the game looks like.
And
the final boss that I saw was just Clive in human form fighting Omega something.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, I wonder if he does change eventually, and I just didn't get that far. Like I basically am trying to keep some stuff to surprise me.
Yeah, Omega is one of the fun like big bosses that usually is in the series. So
that's awesome.
Yeah. Sometimes called Omega Weapon, right? Like in
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Also out this week was another Warhammer 40K game. There's so many of those these days. It's crazy. They're giving their IP out to all kinds of different studios to build different experiences, which is very cool. This one's called Rogue Trader. So it's Warhammer 40K or Warhammer 40K Rogue Trader. They're calling it a story-rich classical RPG from Owlcat Games, who made the Pathfinder game. Some people are even comparing like the strategic combat at the isometric view, not unlike something like Baldur's Gate 3 in terms of the combat and where you move around characters and level them up and stuff. No one's claiming that it's as good as that, but they are saying it is if you like that kind of game and love the 40K series, it's got pretty good reviews on Steam. So that's out this week, along with Highland Song, which Jeff has talked about a little bit. You recommend this one, Jeff?
Yeah, I do. This has more in it than I thought it would for like an under $20 game. I really thought it was just going to be a side-scrolling platformer, and you're like there's like 3D backgrounds which look really pretty, and then you're like more of a hand-drawn animated character that's moving around. And it looks really cool. I love that clash of styles. It just looks really cool. But there's more to it than that. Like there is a Highland Song element of it. It lives up to that title in that there is a rhythm-based section of it where sometimes you'll be running along a cliffside with chasing a deer, and you have to hit the jump button timed in accordance with like the beat of the song that you're listening to, which is it's all folk music. It's all Nordic folk stuff, Scottish
Good stuff.
Yeah.
Scottish.
It's very Scottish. Like they put slang in there that's Scottish that I'm like, what the hell are they saying? Like you have to use context clues. There's no way to understand what they're saying. I cannot that. And I'm like, what are you saying?
It's like CANAAE.
Yeah,
exactly. It's like, what is that?
Yeah.
What is that?
Like cannot, but like you're dumb and you don't know how to say it. No, it's not. Scottish people aren't dumb. I'm just kidding.
Now, you sure it's not Irish?
But there's also other elements to it that I'm very, very surprised by, and I'm very sure it's not Scottish because I had to look it up at least 3 times to confirm. But there's a time management element where like there is a day and night cycle, and you have like I think 7 days when the game starts to get to some sort of dock to leave, because you play a little girl and she just wants to leave or whatever. Sure. But anyway,
leave.
Just because kids, they want to run away. That's what they want to do sometimes. But so it like matters. Like the choices that you make, you can choose to go like left or right in terms of like what cliffs you want to go to, what cliffs you want to climb up. And it's kind of like Jusant in that way, less complicated. You're not making real time like problem solving decisions.
Where's my right hand?
Yeah, what? You're like doing this, and Jusant, you're like moving around a lot. Yeah, you can go all the way around,
going all the way around in circles, waiting for the hand to go a little bit farther. Like, okay, there we go.
There it is. But it is a climbing game in that regard at least, where like you pull up a hand drawn map and it's like, okay, I could go right or I could go left, and whatever. That cool. Stuff is kind of cool, and I love the time management stuff. Like you'll have like Z's pop up above your head when it's time to go to sleep. And you have to find like a shelter, like haphazardly put together shelter underneath a rock or something to go to sleep. And you do have a health bar. And my understanding, at least so far, is that it decreases based on weather conditions. Like if it's too windy or whatever, you're not able to climb effectively or whatever. I don't know. I haven't hit any of the adverse effects yet. I just noticed that the bar goes down slightly if it's raining or whatever.
Oh, okay.
So there's some of that too. So like it's interesting how involved this game is for just, I thought it was just going to be when they had me time the audio latency. I was like, oh, it's just a rhythm game. Nope, there's more than that. It's I like having to, I don't know, pick where to go, and the backgrounds look really pretty. This game is almost too pretty for how below the price is.
I didn't think it was coming out this year. I know we got it revealed like at a recent indie
with no date.
And then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, it's out this week. Oh, okay.
Oh, okay, thanks.
So that's cool. I'm gonna try that one out. It's on my wish list. It's not like it's too expensive. It's only like $17-$18. It's just I won't play it right now. So part of me is like, all right, I'll either buy it when I'm ready to play it, or it'll be on Game Pass at some point. Like it's one of those that I'll do one of the other.
I think it is the reason that it's that low is because it's like a 2 or 3 hour experience, and maybe it's like maybe it's a game that you play again and make different choices. I don't know.
Okay. Final Fantasy VII Ever Crisis is on PC now. If you want to go play that, not on mobile, it's on PC.
Is it ever gonna be on consoles? Is the real question.
That is a good question. If you win one of those Steam Decks, then you could play it there.
That's true. Oh yeah, I forgot about. I completely forgot.
You jerk! You got into the line, and I did not. Mine eventually just said, sorry, like this is closed, and then your number of entries with a big 0. I was like, thank you. That's great. Thanks. Last one real quick. Back then, I don't know what this is. I don't know what back then.
I saw, where did I see a trailer for this? I don't even remember where I saw it. I think I can't even tell you, dude. I really can't. But I found this game somehow. It's on Steam. It's definitely a AA because it's capped out at 1080p. It's a first-person type of puzzle adventure type of game.
Oh, okay.
And you're kind of playing this guy that has Alzheimer's, and his children are like remembering you the way you were. So it's one of those touchy-feely type of indie games.
Oh, okay.
And I was like, yeah, I'm in the mood to cry, and so I just put it on. Sure. I'm only like 20 minutes in, so like the puzzles are like very introductory and easy. It's really just about going into a room to find a thing and pressing a button to get to a different type of room and finding a thing. And that's about it. Like, but the voiceovers are really what you're supposed to listen to, because it's like your children talking to you about how they feel like maybe they weren't there for you, or some good memories they had of you and stuff like that. As your memories like,
so it's kind trying to make you cry. I get it.
It's trying really hard. I don't know that reviews. I think reviews might have been really positive for this one on by the Steam users. I can't remember. Again, I wish I remembered where I saw this game first before I was
back
like,
then. Okay. Yeah. Another one to try out that our friend Angela from the group highlighted is called Born of Bread. People call it this wacky, joyful RPG. They say it's very inspired by the Paper Mario games, if you like those.
Oh, look at this. That's cute.
Yeah, it's turn-based.
Super cute, kind of cartoony, and then turn-based, but like simple turn-based, like Paper Mario games were.
I love the card because it's like 5 card options or whatever. It looks like cards above your head when it's your turn, and they're very colorful. Yeah, I love this art style.
Yeah, people are saying it's got just this fun little sense of humor and cool art style, and they like it. So Born of Bread. Also, it's a great title too.
Yeah.
You play as Loaf. Your name is Loaf.
Sure.
That's my brother's cat's name.
Is it really?
Yes.
Loaf. That is hilarious.
Good cat name.
So there you go. That one looks like a good time.
Then they changed his name to Chongus, I think, because he got fat.
Chongus. Some of those little types of games, like Born of Bread, like for me, there was a game called Tales of Iron from a couple holidays ago that just like, it's like, I just kind of want this little distraction of a game that out of nowhere that looks really cool. So yeah, for some folks, Born of Bread's a great little holiday game to dive into. Last but not least, Avatar: Frontiers of Pandora is out this week.
Well, Dan, have you guys played Avatar?
We have.
We
both of us
have.
Oh,
okay, good.
Have. Yeah, both of us
because I haven't. So
yeah. And
hey, Dan, you haven't played Avatar?
I haven't played Avatar. I've seen Avatar, but I haven't played Avatar.
No Avatar.
No Avatar.
We'll be right back.
So, more Avatar right after this.
Hey, you guys blew yourself. That's what.
Oh no, afraid I blew myself.
I see what you're doing there. I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
So I know this game is getting about as swimming in sevens of scores as you can possibly imagine. And I looked through those and I thought, oh, these are actually a little lower than I thought. I was thinking it might get high 70s, maybe even low 80s, because I thought it was looking and previewing really well. And I think it was. I just think there's enough people out there reviewing the game that are just like, number one, they already don't like the Far Cry formula. So if Ubisoft pumps out a game that's got the Far Cry formula, even with the name Far Cry in the title, they're already not going to like it. So I think it's got that working against it. And the IP Avatar is divisive at best, and some people just flat out hate it. Some are more lukewarm on it, and I put myself in that category. Like, I'm lukewarm on the IP. I don't hate it. I don't love it either.
I am too. Yeah.
So anyway, I think it had a tough hill to climb to get people to really enjoy it. I've jumped into it, and I got to tell you, it might be the best looking game I've played this year. And there's been a lot of good looking games this year. I think it is absolutely stunning looking, just environments alone. I think the characters look good. I think the environments look insane. They look so good. And the creatures look great too. And the water and the sky and just like the draw distance. I'm playing on PS5 and I'm just kind of like, how? And it goes to nighttime and everything starts to glow and kind of fly around you. And I'm like, okay.
Man, I can't wait till nighttime. Oh no.
It's so
oh no.
I'm gonna love it.
It's so pretty. And there's a couple times when you have to go in and like find your friends and you all sit around the fire, and even the way the lighting of the fire, I'm like, okay, this Snowdrop engine from Ubisoft is insane. It's really, really good.
Yeah.
Okay. All that being said, it is like on par with a spin-off Far Cry game. And if you thought Primal or New Dawn or some of these other kind of like spin-off, extra efforts, if you thought those were like already, hey, these are just carbon copy Far Cry games, I'm not interested, it plays like one of those, in my opinion. And that's not a dig on it. That's just a reality. It plays like a spin-off Far Cry game. So if that's not your thing, if you don't like that, and if you're already not interested in the world of Avatar, if you're already kind of like, man, I don't like Far Cry formula and I don't like Avatar, do not play this game. Like, there's no reason to go play this game. Maybe just go watch videos of how pretty it looks. That's all you need, right? Just go watch some 4K video captures of it. It's really, really pretty. But if you like Far Cry, I think it's worth giving it a shot. And if you like Avatar, I think it's worth giving it a shot, because I really do think it's a competent game that looks really good. I played more of it today. I think it's really fun.
You guys like Avatar? Okay. Gotta stop.
It's all right.
Gotta stop the bit.
I know, Jeff, you're not a big Avatar guy, but I think you also are kind of like, all right, this isn't horrible.
Yeah, no, I'm actually more in the lukewarm camp on the franchise itself. You wouldn't know it because I love playing the hater. I love playing the hater when it comes to this franchise, because it's it deserves to be knocked down a peg. It's made billions of dollars. It's stupid how much money
so
it's
much
made.
money, and it doesn't help that James Cameron is so
He's up its
annoying
ass.
about it.
Yeah, exactly.
So annoying.
He really is. He's
really
so
is,
annoying
yeah.
about this franchise. It's like, shut up.
I'm just the best, guys. Look, the proof's in the money.
But what do you think about the whole concept of it? Like, as you got into it, and how they set you up and then send you out into the world.
At the beginning, I was actually surprised at how much of the beginning was story based.
Yep.
And how you're like a member of a Na'vi tribe that was pretty much kidnapped by the humans.
Wiped out, and they kidnapped some of the kids to
they kidnapped some of the kids to brainwash them and to convert them to the human whatever way of life. And then something happens that results in you end up escaping that facility. But there's like a good 30 minutes or so that you're in that facility, and I'm like, is this all the game is? And so like when I finally got out to Pandora,
well, let me guess, another vent I got to run through. Cool.
Yeah, there's so many vents. Oh so my god. I get it though. They had oxygen or whatever. Anyway, that's why they're all wearing stupid masks. They look really funny when they have those masks on.
They really look funny with the masks on.
But once I finally, you see that there's like a bright like tunnel.
Yeah.
That you're supposed to. It's not really even a tunnel. It's just a hole in the wall.
It's a Breath of the Wild moment, Dan. When you see a little door with the light coming in, and you're get close to outside. And as you get closer, the music's changing, and you can kind of hear the animals a little bit. And when you step out, there is that moment of like, okay.
That's what this game is. Yeah. That's exactly what the game is.
That's party.
Yeah. And I'm only at the beginning. I haven't even gone to take down the first base, which I assume is going to be eventually a side activity in the game that you.
There's always towers.
You go to
a main mission first,
towers.
but then
I assume it's an introductory mission. Exactly, because I played Far Cry 6. I know exactly how it goes. And you're right. It is Far Cry with a maybe it plays like a spin-off, but it is Far Cry with the Avatar coat of paint. Yeah. But man, is it a very pretty coat of paint. Like I'll take that.
Coat of paint.
I will absolutely take this over the environments that we end up in the Far Cry games. Like, I mean, it's just because of the fantasy element, like I just I'm a sucker for this stuff. Maybe not in movie form, because the movies for me just come off so video gamey, but that's what makes it such a perfect video game environment. Like it's these all belong. I thought that
since I saw the first Avatar was like, the movie was fine. Boy, it's a very derivative plot, but I thought the movie was fun and cool looking.
Yeah.
But story-wise, so derivative, but it was fine. Like I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I didn't hate it, didn't love it, but I enjoyed it. But I was the same way. I was like, this could be a really fun game. Can you imagine if they just let you loose on this world to explore and
they
try to survive? And that's what this is.
It's the same exact elements of Far Cry that you remember, like the survival elements of like hunting,
collect
cooking,
these plants.
Yeah, crafting on the go.
There is cooking Zelda style where it's like you just randomly put two ingredients together and it may make something. And if that's the case, it unlocks a new recipe for you to then, if you want to favorite it and come back to it later.
Right.
And so they have two bars. They have your health bar and your energy bar, which your energy bar can deplete and stay low. It just means you won't regain health automatically once you're hurt. Like your energy being high means you have more stamina for running around and jumping and fighting and all that stuff, but also your health will replenish if you have a good amount of energy, and you have to eat food to get energy.
It's like the Red Dead 2 logic, kind of, where like if you eat enough, your health is going to replenish faster, basically.
Yeah. It doesn't necessarily directly heal you, but it'll help you be healed. There are healing items as well. Yes. I don't love the scanning mechanic. Ubisoft has some pretty good ways of scanning the environment in their other IP that I like way more than this. This kind of narrows it to this weird, like blurry circle that you kind of have to look around.
Oh yeah. I thought they kind of haphazardly put together that, and the menus itself. The menus look very AA for a AAA game.
That's not wrong. Yeah, you're right.
It's just something about the font and stuff. It's not Papyrus. It feels wrong, guys.
I'll tell you what menu I do like though is the skill menu, because the unlocking skills involves connecting to these there's these I don't know, avatar magical plants that you connect to, and you can go talk to your ancestors of your tribe, and that's how you unlock new skills. So every time you get a skill point, so like the skill tree.
I'm surprised they included that in the game. I'll be honest. Like that's so cool. Lore.
It's a cool lore element. Yeah. I like that, honestly. As dumb as I kind of hate the hair connecting thing, but it's a thing they do, and they work it into this game, and it kind of works.
Yeah,
but then that means the skill menu tree is a flower that kind of opens up, and you pick which area you want to upgrade. So it's like, all right, I like that menu, but the rest of them, you're right. It looks like a mobile game menu.
It's just font.
Yeah,
that's it. Like
it
it's
looks
just
like a mobile game menu.
Yeah. It's so weird. But the colors make sense, but it's just like the font they choose just in the glow of it just feels very cheap.
Yeah. And
but obviously they had to release
upgrade,
it. So
you can upgrade things like scanning and your combat and all that. So like I think the scanning gets better. When you have a game that's so reliant on you harvesting things in your environment, like I want the scanning thing to be really good, and I don't want to have to keep hitting it over and over. Like I want to be able to really see, okay, that there's a million plants around you, and maybe 1 out of every 100 is something you can harvest. The rest are just there.
Well, games like this, the scanning function at least, remind me of well, I guess they're just Sony games. So Horizon and Last of Us.
Yeah.
Where I'm in that scanning mode all the time. Batman games too. I'm in it all the time, so it's got to be good. And this one is just
I can hear that scanning noise in Horizon right now every time it kicks on that little like the sound it makes. So this one's okay, and you can upgrade it. It's just not my favorite, but I do like that it tags enemies. So you pull up the scanning, automatically. You go to take over bases. You just do the scanner and just kind of go over, and it'll highlight all the red enemies, and then it will put a little. If you stay on them for like a second, it'll automatically tag them. So that way, when you add a scanning, you can still see where they are. Yeah. So that part's pretty good. You are really big and fast, and the little soldiers are hilarious small.
I really didn't realize how big these Na'vi folks were. I mean, in the movie, it was like, yeah, sure, they look taller, but like when you're actually the size of one, like looking down on a human, like hey,
sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, they're just like NBA players, they're just taller. Like no, they're 3 times your size. Like they're way huge. Big. And like huge. Most of the soldiers that are shooting at you, the bullets do hurt you. But you can just bum rush them and just do a melee punch, and they're just dead, like one punch. You're so much bigger and stronger, which I do like. But then you start getting into the mechs.
Do they ragdoll at all?
Oh yeah, they go.
Oh, that's so great. That's so funny.
Love the ragdoll.
I wish there was like a Spartan kick or something like that. That'd be great if they added that, like some kind of Spartan kick.
Hey, maybe you'll unlock it.
You do get more weapons. You get like there's a sling launcher you get relatively early on that reminds me a little bit of Horizon actually, because you can throw traps and there's different things you can craft there, which I do like. You just bring up a little radio menu to craft different things. You can upgrade your arrows and all that. So like there's a lot. I mean, it's a Ubisoft Far Cry game. There's lots to upgrade. There's lots to scavenge and then to build. And I like that. I like that loop. I think they do a good job with it here. There's even like a plant picking mechanic. Okay, here's one gripe. I'm overall pretty positive with this game. I think it's going to be a good time. I'm enjoying it. But they certainly are doubling down on the environmental lecturing that's happening. There's a lot of that.
Yeah, there's none of that's happening in the movies. I don't know what you're talking about.
No, not even a little. Not in every plot line. But yeah, so there's certainly some of that with some of the missions, and there's areas that, oh no, the big bad people are drilling, so the whole land around them is now brown and the plants are dying. So you have to stop them and blow up the drill, and then the plants start to turn green again, and everything gets pretty again. So like there's that. But then when you go to harvest certain fruits, there's actually like a little mini game where you have to like not pull the trigger in all the way and then find the direction you can pull it that it won't like hurt the plant or whatever. Like for real, there's like a little mini game with harvesting.
Don't hurt the plant.
Correctly.
Everything is life in Pandora or whatever their accent is. It's very
what is
culturally
that,
appropriative. But okay.
So anyway, overall, pretty good time. Deserving of kind of like a 7 out of 10 from most people. I think it's just below that on average for the aggregate, but I think it's a good time. Certainly not in the game of the year discussion outside of visuals. I'll definitely be saying, hey, this at least deserves an honorable mention, if not to be on the list for best visuals. It's a really visually impressive game.
Yeah, I agree. I'm playing on PC, by the way, because I was kind of forced to. The Xbox integration with the Ubisoft Plus was just a nightmare. I spent an hour trying to get it to see that I was subscribed as a Ubisoft Plus user.
Thanks,
and I think it's an issue on Ubisoft's end. I don't think it's an Xbox issue. I think Ubisoft just sucks.
Thanks, Eves, or whatever.
Oh, is that the name of the?
Isn't it Eves
Gilmore?
Thanks, Eves.
Of course, they're French. I freaking.
They are. They are quite.
They are very French. The Ubisoft is very French. Yeah.
Ugh. Sorry. I don't look. If you're French and you're listening, first off, turn us off. Second off. I don't hate you guys. It's just I'm just going along with the stereotype that French and Americans don't get along.
Yeah, that's fair. Monty Python taught me that when I was young, and I'm sticking with it.
Yeah.
All right. So not too many headlines to cover because most of them are Game Awards related, but just a couple quick things. We didn't mention this, but Baldur's Gate 3 was launched on Xbox during the Game Awards, and there's a deluxe edition out for all platforms.
Good for you.
All kinds of bonus stuff. Oh, good for you. Sea of Thieves launched their Safer Seas mode. So Season 10's had a bunch of updates. They announced this a while ago, but it's finally live where you can launch your own server with your own, either by yourself or with a group of 4 to go and explore the seas without worrying about being attacked by other pirates. But the game was designed to be a pirating game, and its core conceit was survive the environment and other players as you navigate and pirate away, right? That was the whole conceit of it. So they didn't want to lose that heart. So the compromise they make is that you get extremely limited versions of rewards for doing stuff. It's mainly meant for you to be able to comfortably go fish and have fun and do the story quests and stuff without being interrupted. It's not meant for you to go make a ton of money or increase your notoriety with all the different guilds, because you get like 30% of your gold take going into Safer Seas mode. So it's severely, you can't go in there and just grind away and make all the money in the world with no problems. Like, you're going to
that's totally fair.
I actually really like it. I'm like, all right, if you want to go and play with friends or maybe with your kids, in my case, and not be griefed by other players, you just want to do like the Jack Sparrow quests or whatever. You want to do like the tall tales and not be interrupted. Go for it. It's just you're not going to make as much money doing it that way. So there you go. I did try it out and I thought it was fine. There's a little bit of a wait because there's a lot of people that want to do Safer Seas. So anyway, there you go. Guys, there was a Grand Theft Auto 6 trailer this week. I don't know if you saw it. I guess it was the most viewed. I think it beat the Mr. Beast record that was held with like fastest, like most views in 24 hours or some kind of record that he used to hold as like the biggest YouTube personality. But yeah, a lot of people watched it. Hey, this game looks really, really good.
Looks fine. Yeah.
According to the devs, that was in-game footage that we saw. Like all that.
Yeah, I buy that. I totally buy that.
In-game footage. And some of it was like, how is that in the game? That's insane. It looks so good. But think about this. Grand Theft Auto 5 is 10 years old, I believe. So, and this one is scheduled for 2025. So it'll be 12 years since the previous game that this one will come out. So
it's the new like Rage engine, and it shows like and I have full confidence. Like, sure, it's going to have some known open world bugs that literally every game has at launch.
Yeah. So did 5.
And a lot of them will be funny.
Yeah.
But I think it'll function just like Red Dead 2, where it's mostly going to blow your mind. And I can't wait, dude. Even a dev that doesn't even work there anymore, he has no reason to swear allegiance to this product, is like, no, the game looks like that.
Yeah. That's true. That's true. It was no longer someone with Rockstar, but who was there. He was like, yeah, no, this is it. This is what the game is.
And I love the I don't know. It definitely feels like GTA, obviously. Just based on the footage that we saw. But I love the additional modern stuff that they're putting in there. That's ingrained in our culture now. Yeah, a lot. Yeah. And I have a feeling there's going to be like a lot of go viral missions or whatever, like make a viral video missions. Because it looked like the main character was filming a lot. And I think first person, if I'm judging from this trailer, it sounds like or looks like that first person is going to be available at launch, whereas before GTA 5, it was like in Red Dead 2, it was post-launch edition.
I think in GTA 5 it took a while for them to do that.
It did.
Right?
It was like with GTA Online, which didn't launch for like two years.
Yeah, it took a while.
After launch.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Look at it now. I don't know. I think
people have done some really cool breakdowns of this, showing how it matches up to real life, like Florida man, Florida woman stories.
It's insane how indiscernible it is. Like, it's like which one's real and which one's not. It's kind of wild.
Dude, it's literally like some people that are like from Florida. Like, does that was the Joker man or something?
Yeah,
who's like, I want $2 million from Rockstar because they're stealing my impersonation. It's like, dude, shut the hell up.
Oh, that's right. I forgot he became like a streamer or some sort of viral celeb or something. I don't know, man. I'm just super into it, and I love the song choice. They always pick a banger song every single time, and
like a gator coming into the house and stuff, and like
that's awesome. And I love that. That is so
Tom Petty, right?
Florida Man Simulator, and it is a Tom Petty song.
It is Florida Man Simulator, man.
Yeah, I can't wait.
Very excited for it. Listen, one of the things that they didn't acknowledge at the Game Awards, and you could criticize them for not at least saying something. There's been so many layoffs this year, and I know we always talk about them, but it's mostly because I like to kind of just, I don't know, at least note it. Like we have a very small audience. It's just us, but it's more just kind of like, hey, this sucks. So EA made a round of layoffs at F1 developer Codemasters, apparently commercially not being as successful.
That's interesting.
I
wonder if they overestimated. Maybe next time they will estimate them.
I mean, and it's cold-hearted. When these big companies will lay off a few dozen or more people, and then it's referred to as redundancies, and it just sucks. It just sucks.
Yeah, it's just awful. But like, I'm just surprised at this one because I felt like, I don't know, the last F1 and then this one.
Oh, they reviewed great.
Yeah, so positively and like the story is just so good, and I don't know. I just thought it was doing that like better. That's just surprising. I don't know.
It's not like it's shut down. They're not doing anymore. It's more of like, hey, this isn't funding.
Yeah, right.
Us to continue employing you. Assassin's Creed Mirage is getting a new game plus next week, and they had promised a permadeath mode, which I would not be interested in a game like that, but some people would.
No.
That mode is coming, but it's delayed for now. But new game plus will hit, along with Alan Wake 2 getting a new game plus and what they're calling the Final Draft update, which is a funny update title.
Yeah, that's funny.
But new game plus and a few other subtle additions, they say.
So if there's a third game, is it going to be like, I don't know,
Final 2.0,
first edit or something?
Final.
They gotta start naming it like we do files when we share them. When it's like, all right, this is final underscore
final V2 V6. Yeah.
underscore November 2023 V3.
I mean, they might.
Yeah, they might. So there you go. That's all I've got. I know we've gone long already this episode. I can already tell you, outside of Avatar, I don't really have a ton of quick hits or things to suggest. So I'll throw it to you guys if you've got things you want to to tell us about that you're playing. Why don't we go with you first, Jeff, and then Dan, you close us out.
Okay. I only have a movie journey that I'm taking, and I only have one place to talk about it, and it's here because Current Cinema, we're aiming for shorter episodes now, and we don't have a lot of time, Kyle and I, to schedule them. So I just want to mention here that I'm trying to go back and watch all the Oscar Best Picture winners from the Academy Awards.
What year do they start Oscars?
1920.
Okay.
Hold on.
Oh, so like are you
going in order?
No, I'm going random. Like based on what I feel like watching, basically.
And you're checking them off as you
yeah. So I've already watched 70 of. Okay, well after this week, 70 of them. So like I've already watched a lot of them.
70 movies. I'm just kidding.
My whole life.
My whole life. 70 movies.
What's the deal?
Just think of Transformers, and you got like half the list filled. That's 70 movies. Anyway,
you're not wrong.
But like, so like the only ones I have left are mostly old black and white ones.
Okay. Sure.
Maybe Out of Africa is the only one that's like from the 80s.
Okay.
But anyway, I try to stay on the up and up just because, much like the Game Awards, if it won something, it could be good, Yeah. And I want to watch good stuff. So yeah, I'm starting that whole journey for no reason other than just my own joy. So I wrote like 1-sentence reviews for each one and a factoid.
Oh, that's
that I've watched this week. So I watched.
You need to bring back, Jeff. You need to bring back your what was it, 10-second reviews?
10-second movie reviews.
This is kind of what that is, but it's I would say 15 seconds. So the first one I watched is called From Here to Eternity. It won Best Picture at the 26th Academy Awards in 1954. I watched it on HBO Max. This has Frank Sinatra in it, who I liked.
Oh.
And Pearl Harbor does factor into the story by the end of it, but it definitely felt like an eternity to watch it.
Good.
All right. Good.
I like this. I like what we're doing. Keep going. I like this.
Okay. So the next one is called It Happened One Night, which won Best Picture at the 7th Academy Awards in 1935. I watched it on
recognizing these titles.
Yeah. I watched it on Tubi, which is apparently a thing, but it's a free service and it has ads. Very useful because it does have a lot of classic movies and TV shows and all this stuff on there.
That's cool.
But yeah, this movie is like literally the template for every single rom-com you can think of after it. Like every single one. And it's regarded as one of the best movies ever made. And hey, it's actually very good. I like this one. This was very funny. I was surprised. I really didn't expect I would like it. It's really good. And then the last one I watched so far this week was it's called The Last Emperor. I watched it on Max, and it won Best Picture at the 60th Academy Awards in 1988.
I've actually heard of this one. I've never seen it though.
Yeah, this is probably the most recent one that I had on my list. That's why I wanted to watch it. I was like, at least it's going to look good, So I watched on, I think I already mentioned I watched on Max. So yeah, basically China let some Westerner filmmaker shoot for real in the Forbidden City, which is so unheard of. Normally they only let Chinese filmmakers do that. And the Forbidden City is like the palace district where all of the royalty and stuff live. And the emperors, of course.
I mean, that's what you name something when you don't want whiteys
exactly.
in there,
and it's extremely guarded, extremely gated. Like, I mean, when there are wars happening, it's normally outside the gates. Like, rarely does it enter. So yeah, it's an interesting story, but it's about the actual last emperor of China. I can't forget his name, but it is pretty boring. So it's an Oscar movie. This is like the Oscar movie you think of when you think of Oscar movies, like, so yeah, those are the only ones I watched this week, but yeah, I think it'd be fun to revisit that.
Okay. Yeah, I'm curious to hear your other one sentence reviews. Those are fun. Yeah. I like those a lot, actually. Dan, what about you? Anything else you're playing outside of new stuff or Game Awards thoughts? Or you want to plug what you're doing next on streaming? Because I know it's been about a week since you've been streaming, right?
Yeah, I meant to. This week I was gonna wrap up with the post game content of Super Mario RPG, but I didn't. And also just because I forget what it was. Why I was gonna do it Tuesday or Wednesday, and then something came up. But my sister actually. It is Obama's fault. My sister, and also my sister and her husband had their first baby.
Hey,
so. Oh, nice!
Congrats, Uncle Daniel.
So thank you.
Uncle Hood is the best.
Yes,
congrats. Man. I mean, that's great.
Well, on the in-laws side, I've been an uncle, but now it's like I'm a blood uncle. Now I got flesh and blood here, a little baby, and I get to show him all the cool nerd
you keep
shit.
saying blood, really, like
blood. But yeah, that's just really, really cool, and he's a cute little baby. It's a cute little baby, and that's just gonna be fun. Yeah, so I'm gonna force him to be a nerd, whether his parents like it or not. I'm just gonna force him to be a nerd.
Sometimes you gotta force.
So yeah, but we went to the hospital to visit them, to go see them. So it's just kind of a busy week. But I booted up OG Final Fantasy VII.
Okay.
Because I still have
never heard of it.
Yeah, I know. It's an indie game.
I think you might have a problem. I think you might have.
Yeah. Well, I'm trying to get the one frickin' trophy that I still need to get. One missing trophy involving getting it. Yeah, well, getting a date. There's a date scene, right?
Oh yeah.
And certain characters, depending on certain things throughout the game, will trigger certain characters that end up in that scene. So there's a trophy for one specific character that you have to do. You have to like talk to people and respond to people in certain ways. So like I'm trying to follow a guide. I tried following the guide in the past, and for some reason it didn't end up with that person being the one that I get in the date. So I'm trying again, and then I'll finally have the platinum. So
that's so frustrating because you have to go back way far to restart if you don't get the right date. You're like, okay, well I can't just reload a save right before it. I now have to go back and do a whole bunch of different stuff.
It's true. That is true. But I'm like not playing it at a normal pace. Like I'm just doing
skip. Yeah.
Well, like I'm speeding up the game. I have like, where it just gives you the limit break, and I'm just limit breaking everything. Like I'm just basically trying to beeline it and like respond to like,
easy mode.
Yeah. So I'm trying to get the trophy, and then I'll have the plat.
Get it.
Nice. But yeah, that's all I can really think of. I'm going to. So after I do, I will try to do the post stream or post game content. Jesus, for Super Mario RPG remake. But the next main thing that I'll be doing, and I'm thinking like right at the big start of the new year, I'm going to finally start Final Fantasy 1 through 6, the Pixel remasters.
Oh, nice.
Sweet.
Dude, I've been thinking about doing that. I have the first two installed on my Steam Deck. I'm like, I gotta just go, because I never played the originals, at least not all the way through. I think I tried them.
Yeah, they're kind of a blind spot for me, because like I've played, I like almost beat 4 and 6 back in the day and just didn't for whatever reason. But I got super super far in them, and then I beat 5, which is odd because like I beat 5 but not 4 and 6, the two like pretty much most like popular ones of the classics.
Yeah.
But 5 for some reason, and this was like when I first got my like first computer back in the day, and I was like learning about like emulation and all that, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna play some games, and I beat 5 via emulation, so I don't know. But yeah, like 1 through 3, like I've played them, but like barely. So, as a Final Fantasy fan, I kind of feel like I need to, go through that journey. Go through that journey. Yes, big fan of the pixelated ones. But But yeah, so I'm gonna start with those, and that will be fun. So.
All right, well, let's wrap it up real quick with just there's not many games coming out this week, but there's a couple things I wanted to highlight that I thought looked interesting. We don't usually do this, but just some things coming up this week that I thought looked interesting. One of them is we just talked about Stargate. So there's a Stargate Timekeepers game coming out.
Whoa, okay.
All right.
It's some kind of strategy sci-fi. It looks like an overhead, but I see like cones of vision for enemies. I'm not sure exactly what this game is, but it comes out this week. Since you guys just chatted about that on the last episode. House Flipper 2, which Tim will be playing because he's a loser. But I thought House Flipper 1 was actually pretty fun when you do all your sim stuff and then you sell it. It just felt so satisfying. Like, look how much money.
So we're doing a sequel to that. Okay.
There's a sequel to that stupid game.
Sure.
There's a game coming out called Soul Slinger that reminds me at a glance in the screenshots a little bit of Witchfire. Not quite as pretty, but it's like a Western with monsters and it's first person, fast paced. Don't know if Soul Slinger will be any good, but that's coming out this week. And then one thing I wanted to highlight, which is actually coming out next Monday, so the 18th, is DLC for Vampire Survivors called Emergency Meeting, and it's where they're teaming up with the Among Us people.
Oh my God!
It looks
so funny,
hilarious.
Okay.
They even have a pretty high quality, like little animated teaser thing for it. But you are the little Among Us character with all your special weapons and attacks, with enemies just getting demolished by you. It just looks really funny and silly. I love their DLC. It's pretty fun stuff. So anyway,
I'm seeing The Boy and the Heron tomorrow. Is that how you say that word? Yeah. I'm seeing that tomorrow. That's the new Miyazaki film at Studio Ghibli. So
it looks
I'm
really
super excited about it. And the voice cast is just stupid good. Like Christian Bale, Willem Dafoe, Florence Pugh. Like, I mean, just
pretty sure that Christian Bale and Willem Dafoe have voiced those movies before too.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right.
Sure. Yeah, those two guys I feel like I've heard in previous films there.
They get some prolific, some pretty big prolific actors to do the English VO.
And I'm seeing my most anticipated movie for the rest of the year, Poor Things. I'm seeing that next week. That's the Emma Stone movie where she's like Frankenstein's monster. That movie looks so effing weird, and I love it. I love.
She's doing some interesting projects between that reality show that she's doing and the movie.
I think it's mostly scripted, but it comes off like they were,
because it's got Fielder and Nate Fielder.
It does, yeah.
And so he's weird.
It comes off like they're interacting with real people, but I'm pretty sure it's all scripted. I don't know.
Okay.
Fielder's doing top-notch awkward acting in the show. I love it.
That's what he does, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I learned that from you guys. That's what he does.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, that does it for us this week. Thank you guys for tuning in. Next week, not a lot of new games to cover, but we will be doing, over the next couple episodes, some fun. Since it's kind of Christmas time, holiday time, we'll do some games, some quizzes, some silliness to wrap up the year before we get mean to each other about Game of the Year. Actually, I don't think we will. I think this year might actually be really fun. There's a lot of good stuff to celebrate. But yeah, just some kind of goofy, fun episodes the next few weeks. But thank you guys for being here.